What's wrong with these burger buns? They taste perfectly delicious, but due to a production mishap, their bottoms are slightly curved instead of flat. Traditional grocery stores wouldn't sell these in.
All right, friends, we're live. It's apparently the Saturday Night Rave Party with Justin and Sarah. For those who don't know, and I would be shocked if people didn't know, our friend Sarah is joining us tonight from Leaving Faith. If you're on TikTok, listen, you already know who Sarah is. But if you're on YouTube, you might be new to Sarah's page. I encourage you to find her content at Leaving Faith, TikTok and YouTube. She's no stranger to the debate and deconstruction space. Welcome, Sarah.
Thank you so much for having me. It's so lovely to be here.
Well, I'm excited. We should get some fun calls tonight. Hopefully we'll listen, I don't know. Maybe we'll get such a robust debate tonight that we'll be in church next Sunday. You think?
Totally.
Well, sir, while we're waiting for some guests to load up, let's learn about your background a little bit for those who don't know. Sarah, you're an ex-evangelical, you're an ex-Christian. How did you get from a diehard born-again Christian to suppressing the truth and unrighteousness?
Yeah. Yes, which is clearly what I'm doing. Yeah. I was very intense about my faith when I was a believer. It was my whole life. I was super serious about it. And I started the process when my grandfather passed away. And according to my beliefs at the time, he hadn't been saved. And so that was the first time that like someone in my actual life passed away, and I had to really think about the doctrine of hell. That, wait a minute, like, is he really suffering forever and ever and ever? And that was my kind of the first domino to fall. And so then after that, I started questioning the inerrancy of the Bible. And once I dug into that, which is, man, it's a surprisingly, what's the word I'm looking for? Unstable house of cards. Then the whole belief kind of came tumbling down after that.
Yeah, for sure. So you're telling me that the Noah story wasn't particularly convincing to you, that God was in charge?
It was not. Although, the passage that really got me, people ask me this all the time, like, well, what really bothered you? How did you figure out that it wasn't God's perfect word? And it's this teeny tiny little verse in one of Paul's letters. I forget which one. It might be Corinthians, maybe not. And Paul's giving some edicts. Churches do this, don't do that. And in this one little sentence, he says, okay, the Lord commands you to do blah, 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 blah. And then he says, I, Paul, not the Lord, say you should do this. And I was like, well, wait a minute. This is supposed to be the perfect word of God. Some of this is just Paul editorializing. Like, what? And that was really like, once I noticed that, I thought, wait a minute. What else is just editorial in here? What if I don't know that it's all the word of God? How do I know which parts are the word of God and which parts aren't?
Yeah, that's such a good point. In First Corinthians, I want to say chapter 7, he's the one that brings up that point, which is like, okay, if Paul is able to talk off the cuff, how would you know? Unless he tells you explicitly, how could you possibly know which parts are Paul off the cuff and which parts are like authoritative from God, you know?
Right. Because we had the assumption that it was all supposed to be authoritative from God. And yeah, that distinction was very, really disrupting.
Yeah, if only God wasn't the author of confusion. I don't know.
Yeah, he can't seem to make up his mind about that. It seems like if I, the atheist, now am confused about something, I hear the feedback that, like, well, it's just proof that I don't have the Holy Spirit.
That's what it was. You were a dedicated Christian. You dedicated your life to Christ. You were out winning souls, but for some reason the Holy Spirit was just elusive. Couldn't figure that part out.
Well, and the most wild part about that would be like I was baptized in the Holy Spirit. I had spiritual gifts. Like people prayed them over me. So you would think that I would have qualified.
Yeah, interesting. It works in the Book of Acts. I wonder why it didn't work on you. I guess God just knew that you were a vessel of wrath. What can you do?
Yes. That's what I exist for. I'm here for destruction.
I just clipped that soundbite that's on the soundboard now. I'm just here for destruction. You'll be hearing that at a live stream near you.
Oh God.
Chat, we've got 600 people in chat. Make sure that makes it onto your soundboard. We're gonna need some emojis from that. It'll be a good time. Well, we have one caller waiting to get in. Friends, if you want to call and you want to talk about your God, we'd love to hear about it. Listen, like you've probably seen interrogation videos like good cop, bad cop. I'll let you know now. Sarah's the good cop. I'm the bad cop. So Sarah's here to help. So if
That's right.
if you think that you've got a rock solid case for your God existing, Sarah is the person who's going to give you the best chance of getting your God known to the wider audience. I'm the bad cop. I might harass you a little bit. We'll see what happens. But either way, the number is 720-619-2288. We'd love to hear about it. And it looks like we just got an Ian raid over here. So Ian's sending some people. Hopefully we'll get some opposition going. And with that, our guest Kirk just terminated the call. Interesting.
Oh no.
That's a shame. All the way from Turkey. Waited online for a half hour and just left.
Why, he heard that you were going to be the bad cop, and that was it. That was too much for him.
I think that might have been it. Well, Sarah, you have an education in the sciences, and I'm curious how often the sciences come up in deconstruction content.
It comes up a lot about evolution, and it comes up a lot when people say, how can you not believe in a God when the human body is so perfect? And so I get to tell people exactly how imperfect the human body is. And so that's where it really comes up a lot.
But, 51% of scientists believe in God. You must be confused.
The thing about that, like I hear that back and forth a lot, and that survey is pretty general, like believing in some sort of creator. And I think this is maybe where you and I differ a little bit. I actually think it's reasonable to believe in some kind of creator. I don't, but I understand, I certainly understand why people do. And so if a scientist believes that there might be some creator out there, I can understand that. I think that's a reasonable position to take. I think probably a large percentage of scientists would be in a more agnostic category of, well, we can't demonstrate it either way.
Yeah, that seems to be the case. And as far as I'm aware, like until something can be demonstrated to be true, I don't think it's incumbent on us to believe in it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. And that's certainly my position. I am not convinced that there is a God, and so I don't think that there is one, but I can see why people do,
Sure. Well, it's just we got a call in the room now, in the screening room. I don't know if they're ready to come up. I think call in queue might be ready to go. It looks like Kirk came back. Let me see if I can pull up Kirk. And then we've got one person in the screening room that might be an atheist. We'll see. Let's bring up Kirk though.
See if we can in the room now.
Oh.
Hello?
Hey Kirk, can you hear us?
Yeah, sure.
Hey, how you doing?
Am I online now?
You are online right now. You are online, yeah, Kirk.
Oh.
You're talking to
thanks,
Justin and
God.
Sarah on the line. Are you a believer or a non-believer?
No, I'm an atheist myself.
Oh, welcome to reality. Was there something on your mind?
Thank you. Yeah, reality. Yeah. How am I coming across? Is there any lag? So can we talk? Okay, normal.
I mean, there's always a little bit of a lag when we're using call-in studio, but it's okay. It's not dire.
All right. I have some goosebumps now.
What's on your mind?
Oh yeah. There are like a few issues that I think we can talk. Maybe I'm from Turkey. Do you know Turkey? You might know that.
Yeah, we're aware of the best Thanksgiving food.
Yeah. Well, some of them are pardoned every year, aren't they?
Yeah. So what's on your mind tonight, Kirk?
Yeah, I would like to talk about the least talked issue in your channel. I guess in this channel is, I guess, Islam. Yeah, I don't really see so many people talking about Islam and how Islam is kind of different from Christianity. It is not different in a good way, but different in a way that it will take a few moments for me to...
We agree that Islam is different from Christianity, but did you have a question, or did you just want to shoot the breeze?
Sure.
Like, what's happening right now?
Yeah, I want to ask you this. Just it will take a brief moment for me to establish the premise. So then I will ask you. In Jesus was executed. He was executed by the authorities, Romans, in those times, before he could establish his religion, Christianity. And so many things in Christianity today, they were made up by people who came centuries later from Christ himself, as far as I know. But the same thing is not same as for Islam. Muhammad has, he had.
Yeah, no, we know the Kirk. We know the backstory. What's the question?
Yeah, the thing is, Islam is so absolute. Don't you think Islam? Because in Islam you cannot change anything else. Islam you cannot, because that in Christianity there has been so many people made up things. And that's why
Are you trying to argue that one religion is better than the other? What?
No.
What is it you want to talk about Islam?
Yeah, I'm coming to there. The thing is,
really taking the long way around the bend.
Yeah, I guess I'm not sure how could I establish this. The thing is,
can you just state the point straight out?
Excuse me.
Don't take us there. Just tell me the thesis.
The thing is, Islam is so absolute. Absolute. How can I tell you? You cannot change anything in Islam.
So we agree then.
Christianity is more. So one more thing. Christianity.
So Kirk, what's the question? We agree with you. What's the question?
Yeah. So what do you think about this? What do you think about how could you? Well, do you think this absolutism caused the Muslim could not get out of it to come to rational thinking?
Did you hear what he said? Because I couldn't make it out.
So are you asking if the absolutism in one religion is more extreme than the other, and so therefore that leads to more absolute actions or beliefs?
Yeah. Let's go with that.
The thing about it is there are extreme factions in both religions. Fundamentalism and extremism exists in both of those religions.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Hey, Kirk, thanks for the question, man. We hope you have a great night. It was good to hear from you.
Yeah, all right. Never mind. Take care.
All right, cheers. Nice guy. I think he just wanted to talk with somebody. That's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah. We all love a good ear every once in a while.
Yeah, definitely. I just couldn't get a handle on whether he wanted to debate an idea or just more to make a statement.
I'm not sure what he was getting after. not sure he knew what he was getting after, but we do have John in the queue. John's a theist from New Mexico. And Sarah, this is going to be right up your alley. John says, human beings are made in God's image, and we can prove that from the technical definition of a living creature. So this should be exciting.
Sounds philosophical.
John, I know, right? Hey, John, you're on the line with Justin and Sarah. Can you maybe flesh out your argument for us so we can engage with your topic?
Absolutely, yeah. So, let me close my door. It's a little bit echoey. Like, basically, the technical definition of what, like, a living creature is, it's something that can maintain a boundary separate from its environment. So, if you imagine, like, you put, like, a drop of, like, ink into, like, a cup, and if the ink just like completely like dispersed and fill up the whole thing, you'd be like, okay, that's not anything. But if the ink basically kind of like, undulated, grew, shrank, and maintained its borders, you'd say that, oh, that thing is a living thing. It's agential. It has like desires. Okay. So a way you can think
this
about it, like
squeezy ball is living?
You think?
My squeeze ball is living then? That's pretty good boundaries.
No, if you sit it on the ground, entropy it'll deteriorate. It's not
Wait,
maintaining its
where is
borders.
this definition of living things coming from?
Carl Friston.
He's making it up.
Carl Friston, like a lot of people, like Daniel Dennett would also agree with this. This is just like a very like standard definition.
Standard where? In biology?
Yeah, amongst biologists and neuroscientists. Yeah.
No.
No?
You think Daniel Dennett's a biologist?
He's a neuroscientist.
So just to be sure, Sarah has a PhD in physiology, and this seems foreign to her.
Well, this is like very cutting edge. So like the modern like models that they use for biology more rely on thermodynamics than like a selection type thing.
No.
Yes.
Sarah, did you take thermodynamics in your physiology PhD?
I
Do you want
did
me to explain
not.
the argument? Because this is, that's what it's maintaining its borders. It's living. It's like trying to create like a homeostatic state that's separate from the environment. When I die,
Wait,
the environment comes
hold on.
inside of me, and my innards I become one with the environment after I die. The fact that I'm distinct from my environment
Creating a
makes me living.
homeostatic state is an entire other category of qualities that something would have to have. Simply maintaining its borders is not the one qualification that you need for a living thing.
It is. I'm sorry. Like, I don't know what to tell you.
I don't know what to tell you either, honey.
Do you want me to continue with the
John,
argument, or like
you can make up the
like,
definitions
stop
all you
here?
want, but you can't support premise number 1 yet.
Well, can you prove that something that can't maintain its borders is alive? What's something that can't maintain its borders that is alive?
I think what we're both suggesting is just because something can maintain a border has nothing to do with whether or not it's alive.
This is just, yeah. If you guys are thinking it's political, this is not.
We're
not
actually
political.
quite aware that this is not a
having
political
power
argument. I don't know if you got concussed on the way in, but neither one of us were confused about whether or not this was a political argument.
Yeah, who said anything about politics?
Well,
I'm just
sometimes
talking
people
about
like to design
biology.
the way that their philosophy around their politics or something like that, like their science around their politics. I'm just trying to like just be like straight up. If you want me to continue, it'll be really fast, and then you can like take the full argument for whatever you think, and then just dissect it or whatever. Like, so you think about like a cup of water is restraining the water. You know what I mean? It's a container for the water. So it's
Is a cup
restraining it,
alive?
it's holding the water back, but it's also taking the same shape, the same form or the water is taking the same shape. Well, they're both basically reflecting each other. It doesn't really matter. They're both the same shape. But you could also say that the material of the cup is different from the liquid inside of the water. And that's one thing that makes living creatures different from the sort of deadness of a cup with a glass of water is that we are porous. And so we actually osmosify between the environment and our innards. And so not only are we the same shape, the same form as the environment, but we're
This
also
can't be a real
even Richard
person.
this is like a standard thing that Richard Dawkins would say. Like an organism,
Sarah, have you ever read
be a model of its environment?
Okay,
Sarah, have
the
you ever read
characters.
the word? Sarah, have you ever read osmosify in any research paper yet?
No. Okay. Characteristics
seriously,
of
we're talking about
life
something.
has to have structure. It uses
Wait,
energy.
did you guys mute
It
me? I can't tell what's going on.
reproduces.
I never said the word reproduce.
I did. I'm telling
Like,
you.
you guys are literally talking to the person who is the Illuminati
So-
simulation. Like, I am literally the boundary. I am the
Oh,
giant
so
Neuralink
he is
that's
a
in your head.
troll. John's a troll. Okay,
I'm not
just
a troll,
making
that's
sure
who I
we're
am.
clearing this. Oh yeah.
Okay, whatever.
Oh, what a shame. We almost had a real person on the phone.
You guys are retarded. Okay.
There we go. There's the love of Christ. Can you open your Bible and read Colossians 3:8 to me real quick? Oh no, he hung up. He was doing the Lord's work tonight, wasn't he?
What was that? That was the weirdest thing ever.
He was a very stable genius, Sarah.
Ah, indeed.
I would remind you, John, if you listen to this back, first of all, don't let your mother listen to this. She'll be incredibly embarrassed. Remember Colossians 3:8. It says, get rid of such things, anger, wrath, malice, slander, and abusive language from your mouth. This is what the Lord requires of you. If you can't do it, we'll know you by your fruits. So if you don't have the fruits of the Holy Spirit, you're just telling everybody that your God isn't real. It doesn't matter what your bad scientific osmosify premise-based argument is. Good grief.
Oh, that was a journey.
Well, we've got another caller waiting to get in. Roger is ready to go, and Roger, it looks like, already has a watertight argument from the call screen, and the argument is God is real, which I got to be honest, I never considered that argument. So we'll see if he can add on to that. If he doesn't drop, no, he dropped. Roger just dropped. Okay.
Aw, buddy, come on.
The Lord is not sending his best warriors tonight. That is the case. Oh my goodness. There are not enough lifeboats. Somebody's going to be going down on this ship.
Oh no, we're just
they-
gonna have to like crack open our Bibles and do our Bible study, Justin.
I know. You know what? I'm perfectly okay with that. For people who do like a good atheist Bible study, Sarah and I do have a Bible study on her channel at Leaving Faith, where we walk through the Bible and do like an academic review, a real life review from people who don't believe in the dogma. It's a lot of fun. But Roger did come back. I think we can get Roger back up here in just a second, and hopefully maybe get a premise to his solo conclusion-based argument. All right, they're in the screening room right now. Let me grab, while we're waiting for Roger to finish the screening, I'm going to grab just one or two super chats, and then hopefully we're ready. Our friend Evan Rock is with us here tonight. Evan, it is great to see you. Evan says, W, Sarah, and Justin. Doug, bless your show tonight. Sarah's going to have some fans in the house tonight. Evan also says, caller was afraid of Sarah, about to destroy him. That seems to be the case. And then we do have an airtight argument from Pure Form in the super chat. Says an object has boundaries, therefore it is alive. So God, science and logic, mic drop. John 20:25. That is a very convincing argument.
Yep.
Oh well, let's see if we can bring Roger back in. I think maybe. I think they're transferring him out of the screening room into the call room. We'll give him a second to load. Well, maybe. The calling queue right now, I don't know if Roger's giving a hard time. The calling queue right now is Lincoln, all the way from California. Now, I'm getting some trolley vibes because the note says calling from California regarding theism, I guess. That's promising.
Yeah,
Let's see what happens.
Justin?
Yeah, how you doing, Lincoln? You're on with Justin and Sarah on the line. Are you a theist?
Yeah, I am.
Awesome. Which God do you believe in?
I believe in the Spinoza's God, quantum God, I guess. A deistic.
Not really a God then, like a a deistic God. What? Let me ask you a question then. What's the difference
Sure.
between a deistic God and just a force of nature that's not sentient?
Okay, so let me try to explain it this way. I've been like a Christopher Hitchens and Richard Dawkins atheist for 25 years.
So you're
And
not a
just
theist.
recently, no, but recently, probably within the last 3 to 6 months, I think I made that leap. And I guess let me start by saying this: if religion was proven, it would be science. So I don't think, in certain ways, that religion necessarily can be proven. It's a leap of faith, I guess. I don't know if
Yeah,
that
we
makes
agree
sense.
with you. Yeah, we agree with
Okay.
you.
So,
Okay. So I mean, Lincoln, and we appreciate you calling in, but like,
Mhm.
we're looking for people to debate us, you know?
Yeah, in regards to being theist, I guess, is that what you're saying?
Yeah, and you're not a theist, you're an atheist.
No, he was
I
saying
said
that was his previous
I
belief.
was for 25 years.
Oh, I apologize. I thought you meant the other way around. So you used to be an atheist, now you believe in Spinoza's God. Okay. But so then
Yeah.
I still don't have an answer to my question. My question is, what's the difference between a deistic God and just a non-sentient naturalistic force?
God, So let me. I was trying to think of it this way. I've been listening to your podcast for the last month or so, a lot of different ones. But I guess in regards to being omnipotent, so the reason I got there was in terms of looking for a solution to a problem in regards to religion. I guess. I'm sure you know Christopher Hitchens, and in regards to like books like the God Is Not Great, the problem with religion itself getting people to do non-logical things or such, I guess, and causing more problem than answers, I guess. In terms of that religion,
Still waiting for an answer to the question, my friend. What is the difference between a deistic God and just a non-sentient force of nature?
Let's see. So my God is, I say like the Spinoza quantum God, all-knowing.
Yeah, you mentioned that. Yep.
Yeah.
So how can you tell that a deistic God is responsible as opposed to just an unknown naturalistic force? Because what you're doing is you're saying, well, there must be some metaphysical necessity for a God, and the God of theism doesn't make any sense. We need something that has a lot less sentience and a lot less like culpability for evil and whatnot. So you go to a deistic God because a deistic God isn't really not culpable for anything, because the universe is basically an accident almost from the deistic God, right? So what I'm trying to figure out is, what problem is your deistic God solving that couldn't be solved by just a naturalistic phenomenon that is not sentient and then also isn't responsible for evil?
Yeah, I don't necessarily believe in evil per se. I guess in terms of that, I guess it's the necessity is in terms of more personal. I guess I think people have a yearning for an explanation for a God.
I agree.
Yeah.
What I'm trying to figure out is why. Go ahead, Sarah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I was just gonna say, are you saying that because people yearn for a God, there therefore must be one?
To a theist, if you see to a theist, if you get there, then you get there. I guess. I guess it's kind of a Buddhistic way. I guess I'm not. This is new for me too. I guess it was more in terms of solving a problem, in terms of people, coming not being logical, and so trying to inject scientific method or Socratic thinking into religion, using religion to solve religion. I guess that's where I got to. I don't know if that makes any kind of sense.
Okay, so you are trying to make it logical because you think believing in a God will solve a problem.
Yeah.
But do you
So
actually
my God,
think there's evidence? Is there evidence for your God?
I don't think you can come up with an evidence. I just
Okay. It just sort of makes sense to you internally.
Yeah, I don't think religion works that way. I can't say there's an evidence. Okay, I think the other podcast I was listening to in terms of being morality being subjective, and I've heard Justin question a lot of people in regards to that morality is subjective, not objective. In regards to that, and looking for God, I'm trying to clarify my thought, I guess, but looking for a solution to my problem as I got to the theism, I guess. Just
so you think having a God gives you objective morals?
I hope not.
think my morals. No. My morals are. I understand from listening to the other, and I get to the same conclusion that my morals are subjective.
Okay.
So I agree. I agree with that. I guess.
Okay. Well, let's just try this, Lincoln. Tell Sarah and I what problem you think your deistic God solves, and we can go from there. Because it sounds like you're having a trouble communicating to us why your God is necessary.
Okay. Yeah, I think it's my religion. I think maybe if we put it that way, might help. Is the religion itself would solve problems with religion.
But why are you even trying to solve a problem with religion if you don't think that a God exists? Or if you didn't? Like, I don't understand why you need to solve that problem.
Okay. I guess like Hitchens would say, you can get good people to do horrible things with religion, and it seems that can be that's been a big problem throughout history, or just religion's fighting other religion. I guess there's other aspects of that, but injecting let's say the scientific method or Socratic thinking more as the basis.
Lincoln, you're describing the problem, not the solution. Religion's the problem, not a solution. We need a solution to the fucking religion, giving people brain rot.
Exactly. I understand that, but what I'm saying is the next level. Let's say taking all that data is I used
what data
exactly. I used to think exactly same as a religion is the problem, but using religion to solve the religion problem is probably the best answer. That's what I'm saying. I don't know if that makes any sense.
Let's do this, Lincoln. You're a nice guy. Here's what I want you to do. We're going to move on to the next caller. I want you to take a scratch pad and write down a linear progression of starting with your problem and then how a God solves your problem, and then call back in the show. Because I don't think you've made that connection yet. Like, you think that your God solves a problem, but it's clear that you've never actually tried to articulate it yet, and you don't have the words for it. So write it down on paper.
Exactly.
Make sure that you have a logical argument, and then call back and give us what you wrote on your paper, okay?
Okay, sounds good.
All right, cheers. Well, that was something. Those certainly were words, weren't they?
Those were words. Yep.
Okay. Oh, yeah. Oh, gotcha. Okay. I thought, yep. I'm pulling it from the wrong section. Okay. Perfect. Okay, that's my bad. All right, friends, we've got, I think, let's see. We've got one caller waiting. Roger, I think Roger was here a minute ago, and they might have dropped when we bring him in. We're going to bring in Roger, who's a theist from our neighbors in the north, Canada. I assume they're delightful. I am stereotyping here. Roger, welcome
Hello.
to the line with Justin and Sarah. It says that you believe God is real and you want to tell us why. We'd love to hear about it. What God do you believe in and why is it real?
Well, I believe in a sort of pantheistic God, but not as the previous caller, which said it was more of a Spinoza God, which is like basically nature. I think it's more intricate than that and interesting. I believe that consciousness is essential, or like like our what we are, like your essence, right, beyond your memories, beyond your body, and all that, has always been, and it is part of like the universe. Like and nothing can be created nor destroyed, and whatever it is that your consciousness is that same, follows that same principle. Like it is not created nor destroyed, and ultimately, in a counterintuitive way, all different consciousnesses, yours, mine, and whatever, are one, and that is God. And basically, God is omnipresent, omniscient, omnipotent, and that is God. And we're basically that.
So how did you arrive at this conclusion?
Well, I've always had. I want to point out that I was an atheist from an early age, and very, very skeptical about everything. I was not superstitious at all from a really, really young age. I had friends that would play Ouija, right? And I would play that, and I would never get scared because,
like the Ouija board.
Yeah. And I was never scared about that because when I was like 14, I was interested in like mental stuff, hypnosis, mentalism, and I knew it was the ideomotor effect, which is like just everyone is moving it, and they're sort of everyone's mind is sort of pulling it into letters that make up words, and
Yeah, so how'd you arrive here then?
Well, I arrived here because I was consumed by the idea of eternal non-existence in death. I felt that the universe, sorry for that, I was consumed by that idea of not existing forever, and I couldn't. My mind had a really hard time accepting or dealing with this reality being just this material,
So
reality,
because it was
right?
unpleasant, like because it was unpleasant,
No.
you thought it must not be
No,
true?
I know where you were. No, not at all.
Okay.
Because multiple times people try to convert me to religion, and I couldn't accept religion at all. From a young age, I rejected it. In fact, I became really atheist very young because I extended I figured out Santa Claus wasn't real, and I asked my mother, and then after she revealed to me that he isn't real, I extended that to all other things, tooth fairy, ghosts, everything, including God. Aliens went into that same bag.
Right. So can you take us then to how you got to these beliefs? Like what evidence convinced you?
Well, there are many, many different things. One is, for example, when we're conscious, we experience time like a flow, right? Like the clock is ticking. But whenever consciousness is out, like when you pass out or you're out, like anesthesia, it goes really fast. When you sleep, you're kind of dreaming, so it's a mix between deep sleep and dreams. So you perceive it to move faster, but not instantly. So I believe that you can never experience, this is just one pointer. It's not like a complete and absolute evidence, but to me, it is one clue amongst many other clues, and it says like basically that you cannot experience not being conscious because infinite time would happen instantly, right? Scientists now are saying that the Big Bang is probably not the beginning. They're speaking about a black hole origin,
Roger,
where like the big.
what do you
Yeah.
what do you think infinite time means?
Well, that's a way of putting it, like of saying that when you're not conscious,
No, like when you use the word infinite time, what do you mean by that? Because I suspect what you mean by that isn't what anyone else means by that. What do you mean?
well, infinite time would be just a really, 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 really long time, and infinite time. It's just
Right.
a way of putting it.
But
Let's say
moments
trillions
are
of years.
still moments.
Let's say
Time doesn't cease to behave differently. Like it's not like time could be infinite, and does it mean that all moments are happening simultaneously, which is what you insinuated, which is incoherent.
No, what I say is that when you're unconscious, you have no recollection of time. So if your consciousness is turned off with anesthesia, or you pass out and 10 hours go by, from your perspective, there wasn't even a pause. It's like there wasn't a break, right?
Yeah, I'm not sure how that's relevant.
That's because these are things that I've thought very deeply for a long time. Like I can bring up like thoughts that many people share, and I consider them beliefs. Like for example, thinking that if the sperm cell next to the one
it's
you
concerning that these are your deep thoughts, because these sounds like shower thoughts. I think there's a difference between deep thoughts and shower thoughts.
They're connected. They're connected. But
these are shower thoughts. Sarah, what were you going to say? Here.
So are you claiming that because our consciousness does not always experience time as it passes, that is telling you some other piece of information about the nature of consciousness?
Repeat that.
So you were explaining that as humans, we do not always experience time as it happens, right? So sometimes if we're asleep, 10 hours feels like an instant. So I'm trying to understand, given that piece of information, what is that telling you about consciousness? What did you learn from that piece of information? Because you've said that fact and then you moved on to something else. But the fact that we experience time a little bit differently when we're unconscious, what is that telling you? Like, what did you glean from that?
What I conclude from that is that from your personal first-person perspective, you can never experience unconsciousness. It's an unbroken thread of consciousness, and if you see this from the point of view that if you have ever been like passed out for a significant amount of time, or maybe experienced a certain type of anesthesia, like propofol.
So if we can't experience unconsciousness, so what?
Yeah.
Like, why is that important?
It is important because you can not cease to be conscious. At least in the lifespan that you have here, you can clearly see it if you were to purposefully go into those states.
But again, you're not. Why take us to the actual God part? You're still just giving us facts about being human. Yeah. So what? So we don't experience unconsciousness while our body is still functioning.
Yeah.
What does that have to do with God or existence or time or anything?
Well, it has a lot to do. I understand that you think this is completely like a tangent or a different subject, right? The way I see it is, for example, if you
it's just
understand
incoherent.
yeah. Let me give you an analogy, a way of explaining.
Oh boy.
I'm trying to use that to point to something else that is hard to explain. It's very difficult to explain. This is a difficult subject to explain. If it were easy, it could be easily explained. Everyone could know it, right? This is difficult.
We agree.
To explain.
Yeah, we're waiting for the explanation, though, not the explanation about the explanation.
Maybe assume that we are smart.
I call you to have a conversation. I call you to have a conversation that is genuine, and this is not an easy conversation. If this is just if you want me to just
agree, it's not easy.
Yeah.
Can you just assume that we'll follow and take us to the finish line so that we can actually understand what we're even talking about? Can you just take us there and then?
It's not easy. It's like when you try to explain the gravity and general relativity, you have to start talking about a two-dimensional plane that curves. In order to paint a picture, you cannot explain how 3D space curves in 3 dimensions. It's impossible to imagine.
The mark of good teaching is the ability to explain things clearly and succinctly.
Yeah, and that's exactly what I'm trying to do with the explanations that I'm giving. It's difficult to
seem that way. We don't even know what you're trying to explain yet. Like every classroom I've been a part of,
what I was trying to explain,
we know like what the actual goal of the professor is. Like we know what the professor is trying to say before the professor tells us how we reach that conclusion. We don't even know what your conclusion is. What's your conclusion? Don't tell us about the vehicle you're taking to the destination. What's your destination? Where are you even trying to go?
The destination is a pantheistic God, which is one unity. You are it. You are the part of it. No, you are
I'm God.
it. Just like your body is composed of different elements. Your eyeball, all these different parts. But we say that you are just this unit, this thing, right? In the same way,
everything
universe,
is God.
It's no the universe.
So then,
you can
when I
think about the universe,
when I
think
eat
about
like
the
some
universe.
Taco Bell and I have to evacuate my bowels after Taco Bell, that evacuation is God.
From your human perspective, it is a lowly thing, but not from a different. If you see it from the scientific point of view of physics, chemistry, and forces, there is no Taco Bell and there is no excretion. There is fundamental particles interacting, right?
Yeah, we agree that fundamental particles exist, but what we don't agree is that fundamental particles are of the existence of God. So how do you go from the universe exists to the universe is God? Because that's the dots you never connected. Those are not connected yet.
The definition of God. The definition of God is omniscient.
It's certainly not the definition of God.
Omnipotent.
Don't tell fucking Plato and Aristotle, because they believed in gods that weren't omnipresent, nor were they omniscient. So you don't have to believe in omniproperties to believe in God.
Yeah, in Hinduism they have 30,000 gods, and they're just I know. So I'm giving you my definition. You're giving me more flexibility.
Well, what I'm saying is that you haven't made the connection between the universe existing and the universe being God. How could you know that the universe is God? What's your tool for testing this thesis? Oh, you don't have one. Okay.
Did you just did you arrive at this conclusion through thinking about it and it just makes sense to you? Did we lose Roger?
Lord took him. I think he's been lost for a long time. Okay. Well, Roger, it was good to hear from you. I hope you're doing well up in the Great White North, and thanks for sharing with us. That certainly was something. Okay. Pantheism can be fun, but I've never heard a coherent explanation for how somebody gets to the conclusion that everything is God.
Mm. Yeah, I know lots of people believe in some variation of that, that we are all connected, we're all sort of made of the same energy or force. So that belief in itself, I don't think is that wild. I think I don't think he maybe was ready to articulate his thoughts clearly.
Yeah. It sounded like these were definitely shower thoughts that he needed to get out into the world, and he hadn't actually. I don't think he's actually sat down with a human being and discussed these thoughts yet. So he didn't really know how to do it coherently, form them into like thoughts. But let's get Andrew from New Jersey. Andrew is a theist, and Andrew says a religious person has better mental health than a non-religious person. So, Andrew, welcome on the line with Justin and Sarah. Your claim is that religious people have better mental health than non-religious people. And I assume your data is for only particular countries and not the entire world, correct?
Yeah, I was just looking at the one for the U.S. The practicing religious Christians. Yeah, the practicing religious Christians, not just the ones who self-ID as Christians. Like, it talks about a guy,
how could you possibly know who is a real Christian and who is not a real Christian?
Well, it talks about the ones that actually go to church. They read the Bible. They participate in community service. They look at stuff like that. And
I'm sure. So the real Christians are the ones that go to church, because when I was in church, I heard over and over again that
not real
that
Christians.
Just going to church doesn't actually make you a Christian. So how do I know if a Christian's a real Christian?
Well, I don't know if these people are actually Christians. What I'm looking at is
But that's what you claim. You said that the data that you're referring to is about real Christians, but now I'm hearing that you don't know what a real Christian is.
Well, practicing. I meant to say practicing Christians. Sorry. So the ones who are actually, they practice in Christians. Yeah, they have way less mental health rates than the general public. It's STDs too. Like we know secular and the non-religious, they have
more abortions, Andrew. So people who are religious have significantly more abortions. In fact, Christians in America account for about 54% of those getting abortions, whereas non-believers account for 34%.
No, that's the self-ID.
So it sounds like if religion is good for anything, if religion's good for anything, it's good for abortions.
No,
you're doing the devil's work, buddy.
They have lower abortion rates. The practicing religious, they literally have lower abortion rates.
No,
and
they
have
don't.
low suicide rates too.
No, they don't.
Yes, they do.
Nope.
Yeah, they do.
They don't have lower abortion rate.
Yes, they do. It's lower than than the secular women.
Nope, you're wrong.
Okay. If no, I'm not wrong. Pull it up.
Nope,
I think
wrong.
he is.
Yeah, definitely wrong.
So, Andrew, how are you defining practicing, and what are these organizations that are accurately measuring how much counts as a practicing Christian?
Well, practicing Christian, like I said, is like going to church, participating in religious services, or you generally see like Christians.
I'm not asking what your opinion is.
Like,
I'm asking how these studies determined who was practicing.
Oh, I guess they go around and they ask.
Okay, so you think they're just calling up people individually and asking them? And how many times? Like, what's the line? Like, if I go to church twice a month, 3 times a month, do I have to go every week? How much community service? Like, how are they actually defining this?
Yeah, well, if you want me to go through the study, I could pull it up real quick for you. You're talking about what the criteria that they use to know if somebody's like a practicing Christian. Yeah. So like I could pull up the. So you want to know what they asked for?
I do, yeah. Because would imagine that secular or not, if you are measuring people who are involved in their communities, who have strong support systems, you're going to see some good
Yeah.
outcomes. And that's
Yeah.
true whether those support systems and community involvement is religious or not.
Yeah, but the LGBT community, they have a strong support community.
Well, we're not talking about them. We're talking about religious and non-religious. I don't know why you automatically lump LGBT in with non-religious. You know,
Well,
a large
they're mostly
proportion of that
non-religious.
community are in fact religious.
No, most of them are non-religious. Like most trans people are secular.
That's
Okay.
that's just
Yeah,
that's just not the case.
you
They
really-
might not be part of your religion, but that doesn't mean that they're without any God beliefs. What are you going to say,
So
Sarah?
you think you think some of them are Muslim?
I didn't ask you about Muslim.
I know. I'm just
Okay.
saying. What is like? You think like?
When you're talking about people in the queer community, this is not one monolith of human beings. People who are in the queer community might have strong community support. They might be incredibly isolated because their community rejects them. Some people are religious, some people are not religious. This is just a big subsection of human beings. So to try and categorize this huge subsection of humans as one thing or the other, I don't think is correct.
Yeah, and also the data just doesn't agree with you. In fact, I'm more than happy to show you the data. I'll
Yeah.
put it on the screen. It's a little bit skewed, but it says 40% of LGBT adults 18 to 34 are religious. 51% of those aged 35 to 49 are religious, and 55.8% from age 50 to 64 are religious, and from 65 and up, 64.9% of them are religious. Over 70%
Wait, you said 43%?
of over 70% of LGBT adults are religious, Black adults. So there certainly isn't the claim that the majority of people in the queer community aren't religious just is not true. It's factually untrue. And also the Guttmacher Institute already gave you numbers as well for abortion, like I said, and it says 38% of abortion patients have no religious affiliation, and then 24% are Catholic, 13% are evangelical, 17% are mainline Protestant, which is far more than those who have no religious affiliation. So none of your claims actually stack up. Like, I don't know who you're quoting, like what email forward from which one of your aunties you're quoting, but none of them are correct.
So the when you said the LGBT people, the ones who are religious, are these practicing religious people, or are these people who self-ID as religious?
Again,
I don't know why
there's no
you're
way for you
making
to
this
know.
distinction with self-ID, because if you're categorizing someone as a practicing religious person, they are self-identifying as being practicing. The researchers are not following these people around.
Well, no. When they go up to people and they ask them like, "Hey, are you a Christian?" They say, "Yeah," and then they keep it moving. If they like, I think Pew Research delved in deeper when they ask people, "Do you actually attend church, or do you pay tithes or whatever?" That's different than just saying, "Oh yeah, I'm a Christian." "Oh, but do you go to church?" "No, I don't really go to church, but I believe in God." Like stuff like that. Like the actual church attendance.
These are meaningless, because like church attendance doesn't make you a real Christian. Giving your money to a church doesn't make you a real Christian. You already said, I don't know, 15 minutes ago, 8 minutes ago, that when we were talking about this, that no, these aren't signs of a real Christian. There's no way to know who is a real Christian, because this is an internal posture. Unless you can read somebody's mind and heart, you have zero idea who is a real Christian. For example, you have no idea who is a real Muslim. In Muslim countries, many people go through all the steps.
Who's a real
they
Muslim.
give money.
Hey,
they give money. Yeah, here it comes. They give money to their shoot. What's the name of their temple? It's not a synagogue. Sorry, I lost. Mosque, there we go. They give money to the mosque, they go to the services, they do their prayers, but none of this is a sign that they're in fact true Muslims. Just like none of the religious elements that you're citing are a sign that you're a true Christian. You're trying to engage in no true Scotsman because you don't like actually looking at what Christianity as a whole is doing. And it's also a stupid argument because you're ignoring the vast majority of Christian history
what's the no
when they're
true?
out there in the streets. They're out there ignoring the vast majority of Christian history where they were literally murdering each other, murdering Jews, forcefully baptizing people in other nations as they conquered them. So like, yeah, that's adorable that like in today's world, sometimes religious people have good outcomes. It's a meaningless statistic.
They do, and they have higher birth rates too. The secularists, most of them, they have very low birth rates.
I have no idea why that's
the religious,
yeah, why do I care about that? Why do I care what the birth rate is?
Because secularists claim to be the bastions of logic and reason, but then they're
why
for
do I
things
care?
Like,
why do I care how many babies you have?
Yeah. Well, yeah, but I'm
In
saying.
fact, I wish Christians would have less babies.
Well, secularists are not as intelligent as people claim to be. I mean, they're for transgender ideology and
I'm
kids
asking you
removing
about
body
babies.
parts.
I'm
That's
saying
not
why
logical.
should we care? Why should we care about you guys having babies?
Because keeping the birth rates at a reasonable pace and not bringing in illegal aliens is good.
Why is that? Why is that? Oh, there we go. He's a xenophobe. We knew it was going to come out. Go ahead and give us your best anti-Semitic talking points now, Andrew.
No, no, don't.
I ain't gonna say nothing anti-Semitic on a live.
Are the Jewish bankers controlling the world?
I don't know what they're controlling, but I mean, I don't know what they control. I'm not going to say anything anti-Semitic out here.
Yeah, I'll tell you what. I love the immigrants in the city I live in. They've revitalized the place.
I don't love immigrants in the city that I live in. They cause a lot of problems.
It sounds like well, I don't know where you're living, but listen, I know one thing. If you look at the statistics of immigrants, native-born Americans commit way more crimes than immigrants. So you can point the finger all you want, but the reality is being an immigrant is never going to be an indicator of bad behavior. It's only an indicator of bad behavior in your imagination. And again, none of that's actually relevant. Most of the immigrants are religious, by the way. So you're saying that the religious people are actually the evil ones. So you kind of shot yourself in the foot there. But again, none of this is actually important, Andrew. Not a single word you've mentioned so far has anything to do with whether or not your God is real or anybody else's God is real. In fact, I could just pray to the pet rock behind me and then start a religion about a pet rock and have probably all the same benefits that you can get from organized religion, except, the pet rock doesn't command me to commit genocide. It doesn't say that I need to stone women who don't bleed on their wedding night. And I don't certainly have to believe that people are going to be lit on fire for all eternity because they couldn't convince themselves to believe in a sky carcass.
No, your flying spaghetti monster God just tells trans people to cut off their private areas, freaking have abortions like crazy, and bring in a bunch of hundreds and thousands of millions
my God
of
certainly
migrants.
doesn't do any. My God didn't say anything about that. It's weird how you have to bring your transphobia and your xenophobia into the God that I just pointed to on the shelf behind me, which is not the flying spaghetti monster. So,
no,
Andrew, it sounds like you're concussed. It sounds like you got lost on the way in. You don't even know who you're talking to right now.
I'm talking to you.
You're certainly not, because you're talking about the flying spaghetti monster, which I never mentioned. Which God do you worship? I assume it's the Christian variety, right?
Well, I guess they switched gods then. You must have switched gods then to worshiping a rock.
Yeah, which God do you worship?
The God of Jesus. That's who I worship.
The God of the Bible, right? Why should we care what the God of the Bible says?
Because he says so. That's why.
So what? Why should I care? I don't believe that your God is real. Why should I care?
Oh, well, then don't worship him then.
I didn't ask you that. I said, why should I care about what your Bible says?
You shouldn't care. I'm not asking you to care.
Oh, I agree. Then I don't care. So what's your point here?
Okay. My
What's your
point here
goal?
is
What's your
that
objective here, Andrew? Did you think this through?
my objective here is that secularists lie and say they're all about logic and reason, and they're not.
I just
We
want to
are,
clarify
yeah.
something, Andrew.
They're all ideologues.
People who are
They're leftist
non-Christians
ideologues.
are not all one big group. Like, you seem to think that people who are atheists, liberals, immigrants, people in the LGBT community, you seem to think that's just one group of people. That is not just one group of people. It is possible to be an atheist and be conservative, right? You could be an immigrant and be a Christian. Like, you're trying to just sort every human being into these good and bad piles. And life is more complicated than that.
Okay, but atheists believe defend things that aren't logical. Is what I'm saying.
Well, no.
They
So
tell-
what
they say
I'm
that the
saying is,
Christians do it, but they do it too.
wait. Hold on, sir. Wait a sec. To say atheists defend things that aren't logical, the only thing that makes
Yeah.
someone an atheist is that they are not convinced that there's a God. That's it. So that's the only
I
thing
don't
that
think that's the only
atheists
thing.
have in no, that's literally what the word means. So you might find an atheist who's pro-choice or an atheist who's pro-life. You might find an atheist who's a Democrat and an atheist who's a Republican. It's not a whole worldview. It just means that you're not convinced that there's a God.
Yeah, but atheists talk about being their whole thing is about logic and reason. They believe that religious people are delusional. They believe that religious people
see, again,
are.
you
Yes, they
might
do.
be exposed to just a few atheists, but I don't think religious people are illogical. I'm an atheist. Hi. Again,
Bro,
an atheist just means that you don't believe in God. A lot of us who were atheists, we used to be Christians. And so we actually do
they say
understand
that a lot
what it
too.
takes. You're really, a lot of us understand what it means to be religious. And I was a Christian for a really long time. I don't think it's illogical. I don't think it's bad or evil or crazy. I just don't believe that it's true anymore.
Okay. I mean, all right, fair enough.
Okay.
Yeah.
But
I happen to believe that that Christians are illogical. Want to know why?
Go ahead.
Because you think you have objective morals that don't change, right?
No, I think morality is subjective.
Oh.
Okay, so you believe it's subject to God's mind?
Yeah, he's if it was to be objective, it would be without a mind.
We agree then. So you believe in divine command theory?
Well, I don't know. What is that?
It means whatever God says is good, and whatever he says bad is bad?
Yeah, that's what I believe, yeah.
Right. Fantastic, right? And so when God says that slavery is permissible, that just means that slavery is permissible?
No, that's bad.
But was it bad when God said you could do it?
Yes, correct.
Fair
okay,
enough.
so God said you could do a bad thing.
Yes. Well, which God are you talking about?
You're God. You're a Christian, aren't you?
Yes, I am a Christian.
Okay, so when your God said that you can do slavery, God was saying you can do a bad thing.
Well, that's not my God.
The God in the Bible is not your God?
No, the God of the Old Testament is not my God. Yes, correct.
I'm sorry, do you believe in multiple gods?
Yes, there's multiple deities in the Bible. I'm a Gnostic.
Okay. Oh, Andrew, I think we've talked before, haven't we?
I don't know. I think so. Probably.
Yeah, I think I've talked to you on the line before, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah. So go ahead, sir.
Okay. So Andrew,
the Old Testament God was an evil God.
Fair enough. So, I think, Andrew, we have a lot more in common than you're giving us credit for. It sounds like we actually align on some of our values. We're both reasonable people that don't hate each other, and so maybe some of this anger at atheists is misplaced.
I mean, perhaps, but yeah, maybe, I guess.
Awesome. I really do think that we have more in common than we give ourselves credit for. I promise we're not your enemy.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
And do you think that the New Testament is true and the Old Testament is true as well?
The Old Testament, do I think it's true?
Both of them, yeah.
I think some things in the Old Testament might not be true.
What about the New Testament?
Yeah, I believe in a lot of things in the New Testament, yeah.
All of it,
Not
or some
all of
of
them?
it?
Oh, yeah, I believe in pretty much all of the New Testament, yeah, correct.
Okay, so do you believe in Matthew 5:17 when Jesus instructed you to follow the law, that you should follow the law?
Yeah.
Okay, do you know what law he's referring to?
Yeah, the law. Well, this is the way I look at it. Because Yahweh, or what they call the Old Testament God, is the God of this world. We're under the law of the Old Testament, but I mean we're under the law. But Jesus gave a set of new commands.
Well, he actually didn't. So we'll try this again. When Jesus refers to the law, what's he referring to?
Well, he's talking about I'm pretty sure he's talking about the law of Moses. But
He
the
is.
law of
Thank you.
Moses
We
is
agree.
shrouded-
So when Jesus tells you to follow the law of Moses, he's referring to the law that we find in the Hebrew Bible, correct?
Yeah, but what is that? What is the law?
Okay. So then what that means is that Jesus believes that at least the first 5 books of the Old Testament are true, correct?
I don't know if in Scripture he said the first 5 books of the Old Testament.
That's what the law is. If you're a Jewish person and you refer to the law, you're referring to the first 5 books, the Torah.
Well, Jesus, at that time, they had to follow the law. But the times that we're living in now,
I'm not asking you about time. I'm not asking you if you should follow it. We didn't even get that far. I know you're trying to get ahead of the argument. You won't be able to do it, so we'll try again. So again, when Jesus refers to the law, we can agree, in fact, that the law is the first 5 books, the Torah, right?
Yes.
Awesome. And so when Jesus talks about following the law of Moses, he's referring to all the laws of Moses. When he talks about fulfilling the prophets, he's referring to the prophets of the Hebrew Bible, which means we should at least believe that the Torah and the prophets are trustworthy because Jesus is using them in his own teachings, correct?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. So then when I read the law of Moses, I can only conclude that Jesus thinks that those laws are good, because in Matthew 5:19, he tells you to follow them, correct?
Well, no, it doesn't mean that they're good. It just means that Yahweh is the God of this world. So since Yahweh
I didn't
is
ask
the
you
Lord
about
of this world,
the God of this world, so try this again.
Yeah, but that's why we have
Jesus
to follow.
says,
That's why he was
whoever
following the
breaks
law.
one of the least of these commandments and teaches others to do the same will be called least in the kingdom of heaven. Jesus says, if you want to be great in the kingdom of heaven, you must do the commandments and teach others to do the commandments. So that means Jesus would prefer you the commandments of Moses. He says, do not think that I have come to abolish the law or the prophets. The law, the
Yeah.
first 5 books of Moses, and the prophets are all the prophets. And then he tells you to follow those commandments. He says, whoever breaks one of the least of these commandments and teaches others to do the same will be called least in the kingdom of heaven. But whoever does them and teaches them will be called great in the kingdom of heaven. So by Jesus's own words, it's good to follow the law that was given in the 5 books of Moses, correct?
Yeah, but what laws did Jesus follow? What laws did Jesus follow himself?
I don't care about the but. I'm asking for just a yes or no. So Jesus says that you should follow those laws, correct?
Yes.
Okay, great, fantastic. So that means Jesus then, like any command of God in the law of Moses, that means Jesus agrees with that law, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so then I should be able to read you some laws, and you should be able to tell me that they're good. So let's do like a trial run.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, so let's do a trial run on some of the laws of Moses, and we'll just see if you think that they're good or not. So, for example, are you aware of Exodus 21? What happens if you curse your mother or father? Do you know? Exodus 21, 15 and 17. Says,
Yeah.
whoever curses father or mother shall be put to death. Do you think that's a good law? No, but Jesus agrees with this law.
No, he doesn't.
Well, he does. You just said he did. You said Jesus agrees with the law of Moses. We're now reading the law of Moses.
Okay.
Okay, so if Jesus agrees with the law of Moses, I should be able to read the law of Moses, and you would have to say that Jesus agrees with this law. And the law is, whoever strikes father or mother shall be put to death, and whoever curses father or mother shall be put to death. Jesus agrees with that based on the logic you've already given me.
What does it mean by strike, though?
It means to hit, to strike.
Okay, then no.
Okay, so then Jesus doesn't agree with the law of Moses.
No, not those laws, no.
Okay, so that's confusing because Jesus tells you to follow the law, and he says those who don't follow this law will be called least in the kingdom of heaven. Why would Jesus say that if you don't follow this law, you'll be least in the kingdom of heaven when he didn't want you to follow the law?
What law of Jesus? Jesus gave 2 commands.
No, he didn't.
Yes, he did. All of the laws shall be summed up in 2 commandments. Yes, he did.
Those aren't laws of Jesus. Those aren't 2 new commands.
They are
That's Matthew 22.
Those are laws of Jesus.
And they're not 2 new commandments. And if you bothered to read your Bible, you would know that. What question is he answering? What question is he answering in Matthew 22? Have you even read it?
Well, I don't have my Bible on me to read the whole
I know,
chapter.
you've never read it. It says they're asking him, teacher, which commandment in the law is greatest? So they're not asking him what are the only commandments. They're not asking for a new commandment. They're saying of the commandments we have, which of them are the greatest? And he said to them, you shall love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, and all your mind. That's Deuteronomy. And it says, this is the greatest and first commandment. The second is like it. You shall love your neighbor as yourself. That's Leviticus 19:18. It says, on these 2 commandments hang all the law and the prophets, which Jesus didn't even invent that saying. That saying already existed in Jewish culture. In fact, it's written in the Talmud. You can read it before Jesus even said it. So the reality is, Jesus didn't give you only 2 new commandments and said not to follow the other commandments. He explicitly told you on multiple occasions to follow all of the commandments of Moses. And of those commandments, these are just the 2 greatest. That's all he said.
Okay, so when it says an eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth, show no mercy, and Jesus says, hey, you know what? Don't do that. Show mercy.
Mm-hmm.
So you mean to tell me that God changed his mind?
No. Jesus isn't God. So that's the first problem you have, is that you think Jesus is God, and you think God changed his mind, not me. So you think God changed his mind because you think that God said to follow these. Okay, so if Jesus isn't God and the Old Testament God is evil, who's the good God?
The good God, his name is what they call what's his name? Jesus just calls him. I forgot the name, but I was watching a video on it. But Jesus just calls him the Father. He doesn't call Yahweh his Father. Well, no, it's not Yahweh.
So I don't know if you're confused, but Jesus was a Jew. In Judaism, the Father is Yahweh.
No, it's not Yahweh. The writers.
It is, yeah. The Father's always Yahweh in Judaism. This is not like if you bothered to take 50 seconds to Google, you would learn this. Judaism never taught that there was another Father other than Yahweh.
Well, I believe that they stitched the two beings together. It was Yahweh and then what they call the Father
what's Jesus'
or whatever.
name?
And then the writers.
What's Jesus' name in Hebrew?
Well, they call him Yeshua, but some Hebrew Israelite guys, they call him freaking.
Okay, so Jesus' name, his long name is Yehoshua. That's Hebrew for Joshua. His short name is Yeshua. But Yehoshua is essentially Yahweh is salvation. So the Bible, the New Testament says that you will name him Jesus, Matthew chapter 1. You will name him Jesus because he will save his people. And the name Jesus means Yahweh saves, which means Jesus, his Father, and the Savior of the New Testament is Yahweh. Yahweh's the guy. He's the one.
No, I don't think Yahweh's the guy.
Well, you'd be wrong then. You don't know your Bible, and you certainly don't know even what Jesus' name means. Why would the angel from God who announced the birth of Jesus say to name Jesus Jesus if he thought Yahweh was evil?
Well, I don't think the angel said the name Jesus. He said, what is it called? A Yeshua or something like that.
Jesus is Yeshua. Yehoshua is the same name. It means Joshua.
Yeah, so the old you ever heard of the entity L?
I know about El, and I can guarantee you don't. We're not talking about El. Judaism already conflated El with Yahweh hundreds of years before Jesus. And the Old Testament tells you that El and Yahweh are the same deity. If you bother to read the Hebrew Bible, you would know that El and Yahweh are the same. Yes, in the Hebrew Bible, El and Yahweh is the same. They are. Yes, they are. In the Hebrew Bible, El and Yahweh are the same. They are. Want me to show you?
Not. You can show me, but the writers. Yeah, you can show me, but they're not the same God.
They are. In the Hebrew Bible, they are.
No, they're not. Yeah, in the Hebrew Bible. No,
yeah, I know. Yeah, in the Hebrew Bible. But that's your holy book. Your holy book is the Hebrew Bible, and Jesus agrees with the Hebrew Bible.
No, they stitched those two beings together.
Then Jesus is wrong.
There's some passages.
Jesus understood Yahweh as the only God. Paul understood Yahweh as the only God.
There's some passages where the Father is talking, and then there's some passages where a different Yahweh is talking.
They're the same God in Judaism. All right, Andrew, pay attention for 5 seconds. Stop. Hey, stop crashing and just pay attention to my words, okay? The Jewish religion knows and understands that the current form of the Hebrew Bible says that Yahweh and El are the same deity. Now, you can say, well, listen, the Jews were wrong and the Old Testament's wrong. You could say that, but then you've got a problem with Jesus because Jesus believes that it's authoritative. Jesus believes that Yahweh and El are the same deity. Jesus believed that Yahweh is the supreme God. He believed all those things. So to make the argument you're making, you're undermining your own Savior, Jesus. If Jesus is meaningful at all, if his words have any impact at all on theology, then you have to agree with what Jesus agreed with.
No, because remember in the Old Testament where and this is how you could tell where
No,
where
no,
I believe
but
that the old
striking argument. Have you considered no but?
Jesus literally said that he has come only to bring life and life more abundantly. And then it says that the thief has come to kill, steal, and destroy. Who's always killing, stealing, and destroying in the Old Testament?
Well, the problem is you haven't read the Old Testament. According to the Old Testament, the killing and destroying that God doesn't want to do himself is offloaded onto Satan. That's why in the New Testament, Satan's the bad guy. And again, in the Hebrew Bible, God is righteous and just in all of his ways. Now, listen, you and I agree that if you actually read the book, it's horrific. And the God of the Old Testament is quite horrific. The problem that you have is it's meaningless because Jesus was a Jew. Jesus believed that the Old Testament was authoritative, and the Old Testament says that El and Yahweh are the same God. Psalm 83:18 says that they may know that your name is Yahweh alone, Elyon, over all the earth. Elyon, the Most High God, is Yahweh according to Psalm 83:18 and others.
No, it's not. Like I'm not.
That's what it says.
Good at explaining this, but there's videos on.
I know
that you can watch
because you don't know what you believe. You were programmed by some bad YouTube videos. You haven't done any real research, and you think watching a YouTube video from some goof who doesn't know what he's talking about is somehow evidence for your position, but it's not evidence for your position. Because whatever goof you're listening to has not read the Hebrew Bible or the New Testament either. It's a goof.
He reads the Bible on air.
And he doesn't understand a word of it, because if he actually read all the Bible, he would know that Elyon, El, and in fact Yahweh are the same. Psalm 92:1, a song for a day of the Sabbath. It is good to give thanks to Yahweh and to sing praises to your name, Elyon. Elyon and Yahweh are the same. The name of Elyon is Yahweh. Exodus chapter 6, verses 2 and 3 says that the name of El Shaddai, is in fact Yahweh. Jesus believed this, which means if you believe in Jesus, that means you have to believe that Yahweh is the actual God and Father of Jesus, which is why he was named Jesus. You haven't thought through this position, Andrew. You have no idea what you believe because you've been programmed by some weird YouTube videos. And I guess the only thing we can do after this, because I don't want to belabor this call much longer, is I was really curious about your position on, I don't know, whether or not immigrants should be executed, because I saw you at some other point talking about how you think it'd be okay to execute and or torture immigrants. Do you think that's acceptable?
No, when did I say we need to torture immigrants?
Do you think that they should be enslaved?
No.
Do you care? If somebody did harm the immigrants coming into the country, would you care about it?
Of course. I don't want anybody to be murdered by but I don't want any Americans murdering immigrants.
Okay. Interesting pivot from your last conversation on this topic. We appreciate that you've changed your tone on this particular
what he was
issue,
talking about,
even though
I told him,
even though you already are a xenophobe, it's fine. Listen, Andrew, it was a fun time talking to you. Next time you come up, we'd like to hear an argument for why your weird, goofy religious viewpoint is actually true, rather than dumb talking points about how you think religion is somehow beneficial for society.
Well, I call up next time and have much better arguments. I do my studying. I just not too long ago started getting into Gnosticism, but yeah, I'll do more research and then I'll come back and we can have a debate on it.
Okay, sounds good.
Yep.
All right, have a good one, Andrew. Well, he calmed down a little bit there, Sarah. I think I think you calmed him down. I think you soothed his anger there. Your mic is muted right now. I don't know what happened.
Oh, it's because I muted it.
We're good to go now.
That'll do it.
All right. Hey, we've got another theist in line, all the way from Minnesota. Luke from Minnesota is a theist. I assume, I don't know, from Minnesota, I assume they're a Christian. Says God is real. People know it, but suppress it. It can be seen in creation. Yeah, I assume that we're both suppressing it in unrighteousness, according to Romans chapter 1. Luke, which God do you believe in? Can we assume it's the Christian version of God?
I don't think I would call myself a Christian. Just a follower of Jesus. Yahuwah.
So you're a Christian?
Yeah. I guess.
Fair enough. So why should we believe that your God is real?
Well, I just think it's quite obvious that he exists. I mean, I used to
solid evidence
not believe in God, but well, I grew up and I seen like the creation, like complex life, and I just knew that God existed, and
I looked at life, and Sarah looked at life, and we determined that God doesn't exist. So do you think intuition is the best evidence?
Yeah, I mean, I think you can tell. I mean that's the one thing that convinced me, is that I could just tell.
Well, we disagree. Sarah, I think you got something to say about this, huh?
I mean, I'm not quite sure what to say here. So the idea that just because something feels real doesn't make it real. And I think that's evidenced by the fact that different things feel real to different people. I understand that it's convincing to you, that it makes sense to you, but that doesn't actually inherently mean that it's correct.
Yeah, I honestly think that people that deny that creation and everything actually shows you that God is real. And I think it's like Romans 1 says, that people are being given up to a depraved mind, and they just want to sin.
Okay, so what you're saying is you assume that everyone's brain works the way yours does. That because something makes sense to you, it inherently makes sense to everyone. And if someone disagrees with you, it's because of a moral failing. That if someone doesn't believe what you believe, it's because they want to sin.
Yeah, I mean, I think that God made us all to know that he exists. And I think because of the evil in the world.
But do you see how that completely lacks any empathy, any ability to put yourself in someone else's shoes? I mean, what you're saying is anyone who disagrees with you is morally bad. And you're not leaving any room for any other reason. Well,
we're all fallen.
Yes,
it's obvious. I mean, evil, the world becoming more evil and evil, and we can't, all this homosexuality and transgenderism, and
okay.
We knew the homophobia would come out soon.
I mean, you guys are
never far off.
Are causing it pretty much.
I'm causing it?
Good. Fucking A. I hope dudes call in and turn gay for Justin.
I've seen you, Justin, and I think you're kind of fucked
good
up.
looking. I bet you do.
It's okay if you're in the closet. I'll accept you. Listen, I've got a holy document here. Let me read it for you. Let me know what you think about this. My holy document of Doug says that Christians actually know that Jesus is bullshit and their God isn't real, but they're suppressing it because they're terrified of dying. So it sounds like you're wrong because my holy text disagrees with yours.
Well, I know that's obviously not real.
No, it is. I know that yours isn't real. I know that mine is. Mine's a real text written by God.
Would you buy that off of Amazon?
No, God gave it to me.
Oh, okay.
So why should I care what your text says when my text says that yours is bullshit?
Well, it's obviously been around a long time, and like a lot of people believe it, and we follow it, and it's
Yeah.
So
So what?
something
obvious.
being around a long time does also not make it true. Lots of things have been around a long time. That doesn't mean that they are true.
Sure.
Yeah.
Well, I just think that why would everyone be lying throughout the ages? Like, it's quite obvious that people throughout the ages found truth and life, and
Right, but people throughout the
yeah.
ages found truth and life in other religions, in other ancient documents. This thing is not
Well, I
unique to
think those are
Christianity.
satanic. Those are satanic.
Of
Well,
course you
they
do,
would
but I'm trying imagine looking at this from someone else's perspective, right? I have, let's say, 3 ancient documents, and they're all from different religions, and they've all lasted thousands of years, and all of their followers find truth and meaning in these documents. Why would yours be correct and the others be false? Because the only reasons
Well,
you've
because their
given
eyes
so
are
far is that it feels good and that it's old.
well. That's just God giving people up to depraved mind. That's what Romans 1 says.
consequently, those are also reasons to be gay for Justin.
How do you know you have not been given up to a depraved mind?
Well, God wouldn't lie to me. Like I follow his commandments, and
But
he leads
Satan
me
is
in the
the
right way.
father
Like
of
he's
lies.
made my
I mean,
life better.
Satan is incredibly good at deceiving, right? So how do you know you are not being deceived by Satan? And if your life is better after following this, well, that's because Satan doesn't harass his followers. Satan only goes after true believers. So if your life has gotten better, that's even more evidence that you've been deceived by Satan.
No, I don't. I don't think that's true. I
I know
I
you don't,
know.
but I'm trying to show you the error in your logic here.
Well, I just can't see why, like, coming from not believing and being stuck in homosexualism, and
Oh.
yeah, I had to get away from it because it was bad, and I found truth in Jesus, and I turned my life around, and now
I'm
I
very sorry that you
I
went through someone
still
telling you that who you are is wrong. That sucks. I'm really sorry that happened to you.
Yeah, I hate that for you. You don't have to hate yourself, by the way.
yeah, but no, I don't. No, I definitely don't hate myself. I just know that I have to choose to pursue God and love Jesus, and um, yeah, I think that if I keep embracing Christ, that I don't have to do that anymore, and yeah, I don't see why that's a problem. I mean, I
Well,
don't
it's a
think that
problem in that the way that you're talking about other people in the LGBTQ community, it's causing you to hate a whole group of people. And
well, I don't think I hate them. I just think they're lost.
okay. The believing that you are evil and bad and that someone has saved you from your evil and badness is very powerful. It still doesn't make it true. Um, People from other religions have experiences where they stop other things. You know, they have a religious experience and they turn their lives around in different ways. Again, this is still not unique to Christianity. It sounds like you've had a powerful personal experience, but you don't actually have any evidence or even good reason that your religion is correct.
Sure. Well, I I just think that um, I just feel like I've been following the truth, and I trust
Yeah.
that God's grace is sufficient to keep me in the truth and in light. And I just hope you guys can see the truth. And
We do. That's why we
it's
don't believe in your
unfortunate.
God.
I don't think we're getting anywhere.
Yeah.
What was
Why
that?
does
Okay,
your God
well-
care where you put your dingling?
Well, he's
Sorry, Sarah.
trying to make sure that we don't those things lead to destruction and
What's destructive about having a consensual
physical
relationship with
ailments.
another male?
Well, it's against God's commandments.
Yeah, I know, but why does he care?
He wants humans to be fruitful and multiply. He doesn't want us
that's
being
not
all
true.
selfish.
No.
What?
Jesus says that you should be a eunuch for the sake of the gospel, and Paul did too. Paul said that even if you're married, you should live as though you're not married, because the present form of the world is soon coming to an end. So according to Jesus and Paul, like, you shouldn't even be having kids. So certainly it doesn't make sense that he would care if you're in a relationship that wouldn't produce offspring.
Sure, but we gotta keep raising up offspring to follow Christ and to continue to.
But that's not what Jesus said. Jesus didn't say that. You're adding that to the New Testament.
Well,
The command to be fruitful and multiply was there when the world was empty. There was nobody on the planet, and God said, be fruitful and multiply. And then later, once the planet was populated, in the New Testament time, God changed his mind, said, okay, we got enough. The world's about the end. You don't have to have babies anymore. So he shouldn't care what you're doing with your body. Also, you can have kids even if you're in a consensual, loving relationship with another male, right? You can have a kid. There's surrogacy. You can do adoption. There's all kinds of stuff you can do. You can do IVF with somebody who's willing to be a surrogate. I mean, there's so many options for having children. Being in a loving, consensual relationship with another man should never prevent that from happening.
Yeah, that just seems kind of unnatural to me. Like I think that it's only like
it's incredibly
really,
natural. You see homosexuality in over 1,500 other species.
That's the result of sin. It's obviously
the animals. The animals are sinful.
The animals.
Okay.
Yeah,
so
I mean,
when you
it's
see the wait, hold on. When you see the natural world, you looked around at the natural world and you decided that God had made it because of what it was like. And yet when you look at the natural world as it is, some characteristics of it you decide are actually not from God. How do you know which characteristics of the world are a product of sin and which characteristics of the world are from God?
I just trust his word, and I mean, look at the complexity. I mean, look at the trees. I mean, it's obvious. Like, you sit and wonder and.
No, wait, you're missing the point though. What I'm saying is, when you watch how animals function, how did you decide that some of the animal functions are from sin and some of the animal functions reflect the glory of God?
I guess, yeah, I don't know how to answer the question. Like
right. See, what you're doing is you've made a preconceived idea and you're trying to apply it, and I'm showing you how it doesn't actually apply.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah, I just think that I think God made commandments so that we could be safe, and we don't. I mean, I don't always know and understand why I need to do those things, but we're just called to trust and have faith, and not walk by sight, but by just trust.
There
and
are Christian
be like little children,
denominations. There are Christian denominations that are LGBTQ affirming. Like, this is not a universal principle amongst all Christians, that,
Well,
being
those aren't
queer is
restrictions.
wrong. Oh, who told you that?
They're loud.
Who told you that?
Well, it's obvious. They just don't obey God's
No,
word.
no, it's
And
not obvious. No, it's not obvious at all. Someone told you that.
sure. Yeah,
What do you,
it's just what I mean, that's what I've seen and I feel, because as I've read the scriptures, and I've only been like a Christian for about a year. I mean, I was away, and I was away from Christianity. I kind of grew up in a nominally Christian home, and I never really followed it. And I kind of went to youth group and did all that stuff, and kind of got away from it. But I came back, and it's kind of becoming more true and obvious. And I really just see, like, I mean, like, evolution. Like, I just don't see how, like, you guys can believe that, like, a fish turned into a duck or whatever, or we came from rocks. Like, it just seems
can
kind of
I
silly,
ask
honestly.
what's your highest level of education?
I just high school.
Okay. So did you take a biology class in high school?
Oh, yeah, I'm sure I did. I didn't really do really well in that class, to be honest.
Okay, that's fine.
That checks out.
I get it. No, I get it. Not everybody likes biology.
A lot of it's
Yeah.
just evolution. It was really confusing because, like, it's yeah, it didn't make any sense to me at the time either. But I never
Sure.
really paid attention in school that much.
Okay. Yeah. So, I mean, the hard thing about evolution is that when we're talking about tiny changes over tens and hundreds of thousands and millions of years, when you start at point A and point B doesn't happen for a million years, it is really hard for our brains to wrap around such a long period of time. And so I think sometimes when people don't understand evolution, it's just because they have an incorrect assumption about it and about how fast it's supposed to happen. Um, so I think that's the most common reason I see people not accepting evolution, is just because they have a false conception of what it actually is.
Sure. But I don't know. It just doesn't make any sense to me. And I think it just seems like it's more likely that God created everything, and I just don't see how, like, things evolve. Like, I see, like, this butterfly that has a pattern on it, and it looks, or certain insects that look like branches, like, just naturally, and that just makes me think that some kind of, I mean, Jesus, obviously Yahweh created it, and that just makes sense to me.
Well, what about, let's say, the fact that, let's do your skin. So you need vitamin D in order to function. If you don't have enough vitamin D, essentially your whole body will shut down. By far, the most effective way to get vitamin D is from the sun. And you really need to be sitting out in the sun every day to get an adequate amount of vitamin D. The problem is when you do that exactly as designed, you get skin cancer. And then skin cancer can be aggressive, and you can die from it. And so the way that our human body functions is that doing the thing that keeps us alive will kill us. And it's not a very logical system.
Well, I just think that's obviously a result of sin, and, like, it probably is judgment for the Adam and Eve's sin, and it's just that's the only thing I
So
can
what
think of as far as a biblical standpoint.
Right. So what you're doing is you're first making the argument that our bodies are so perfect, the perfection shows us that God made us. And then when I show you, oh no, actually we're not perfect and we're not all that well designed, you suddenly are switching into, actually, you're right, it's because of sin. And so it can't be both, right? Either we're perfectly designed or we're not.
Well, that's why, I mean, God's blinding. I mean, it's Satan's blinding me because, like, it's obvious
Satan's
to me
blinding
that, like,
me. Wait, do you think, wait, tell me which part is incorrect. So I've explained to you how your skin functions by absorbing sunlight and vitamin D. Do you think I'm wrong?
no, I don't think you're wrong. I'm sure that the
Okay.
way you describe it is correct, but I think that God made things perfect or good, and bad came into the world, sin, and a lot of this is just consequences or it's punishment.
Okay, so we
that we
agree
can
that
turn
human
back to
beings are
Him.
not perfect, right? So human beings are not perfectly designed.
Well, I mean, it's like if you have an iPad and like it's well designed,
Nope,
but
human beings. Human
someone
beings.
started tinkering with it.
She said, Luke,
Oh,
she said human beings.
So no,
So
we're talking, and this is not a little tinker. This is the whole design. Are humans perfectly designed? Yes or no?
well, I don't. I mean, might have misspoke. I think that God created a good design, and sin came into the world, and it created issues within
So am
the
I perfectly
mechanism
designed?
that you're talking about.
Me as a human, as a current human being right now, am I perfectly designed?
Well, I think that, like, I mean, if you see like just how our body is, like it's kind of amazing. Like, I mean, I don't know how like all these things could
yes or
function
no, buddy?
unless
Just
like
we just need a yes or no to the question. Is Sarah perfectly designed?
uh no.
There you go. So
Okay.
what she was
Yeah.
saying is that if we're not perfectly designed, then you can't use the perfect design as evidence of God. Did I sum that up, Sarah?
Mhm.
Oh, well, I just see that like the fallenness of creation is the thing that makes it like obvious that when things fall apart and
No.
God's initial intention
Right. So now
was
you're making
to
an
make us.
assumption about what things used to be. But when you look at the way things are, we are not good evidence for God because we're not well designed and we do break down.
Well, I also like I look at like plant life and trees, and I just like how do these things even like just evolve? Like I guess I'm not a biologist but I just like all this stuff doesn't make sense to me. Like to me it's
Yeah,
like it
I
just can't
do
poof out of nowhere.
Yeah, no, we don't think it came out of nowhere, is the thing. I honestly think you would really enjoy learning about this stuff. It is super cool. The way that genetic material, is able to be reproduced and how DNA and RNA tell you what to do and what proteins to make. It's super cool. And there actually is so much information out here to answer your questions. And I don't want you to think just because it doesn't make sense to you right now doesn't mean that that information is not available.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
Luke, I would also point out that. Sorry, Sarah. Go ahead.
No, it's okay. Go ahead.
Luke, I would also point out that like even if evolution, if you don't know anything about evolution, it still doesn't mean that your God is real. There's 1,000 other things that could be true before your God is real. So like saying that I don't understand evolution, therefore my God is real, that's not really a coherent argument to begin with. That being said, Sarah's got a lot of good information and some good recommendations on learning about evolution if you're curious.
Sure. I just think it's just made up, and I think obviously you guys are just
Well, wait,
imagining
just made
Satan,
up.
Satan bloody eyes.
wait,
So
hold on. For it to be made up, you would have had to enlist hundreds of thousands, probably at this point, millions of different scientists over 100 years in every different country with different funding sources, different cultures, all for some reason buying into publishing fake papers like about evolution. I mean, it would be completely illogical for this to just be made up. Like, how would that even work?
well, I mean, if like people just get together and they have that bias and they decide
So
like
just
I mean, since I believe that
no, that's
people
not how
are just
science works,
religion.
blinded, and
though.
so they
Well,
That's how religion
What was
works,
that?
not science.
so yeah, that's not how
oh
science works, though. Like, so if you want to publish your research in science in the field of science, you have hundreds of different groups of scientists at different universities, at different research centers all over the world. And they have to collect data, show their data, and then different scientists at different laboratories with potentially competing funding interests all review your research to make sure that it is sound research before it gets published. And this happens hundreds and hundreds of different times. So the idea that a small group of people could have gotten together for some strange reason, the amount of people you would have had to enlist in this conspiracy is astronomical and just genuinely not feasible.
sure.
Yeah.
I mean,
It's also
yeah.
Nick, it's also, I'm sorry, not Nick, that's another caller. Luke, it's also true that like the Bible doesn't understand biology. Like science has a pretty good understanding of biology. The Bible does not at all. The Bible thinks that like diseases are called by evil spirits, not by germs. The Bible thinks that all women bleed the first time that they have sex. They don't. Have you read Deuteronomy 22 before?
Well, I've seen your argument on this, and I'm of the opinion that like this book is written. I mean, the holy text is written by men, and they're flawed in their understanding. And I do think that through time it is corrected. And
so you think the Bible's flawed?
what?
The Bible is flawed?
Well, I mean, I know it's written by men, like by people, and they're not perfect. So,
I mean, I agree with you, but
yeah,
now
I mean,
I'm flabbergasted. So,
well, I mean,
how
I
do you
don't
know
expect it to be
what
perfect,
God's
but I think
commands
most
are?
of it's true.
Wait, how do you know which of God's commands are true?
Well, I don't think we have to follow commandments. It was taken care of in the cross, and we
Wait,
don't
so
have to follow
why do you
that
the laws
question.
anymore.
She asked you about truthfulness, not whether or not you had to follow them.
What was the question?
So why do you think being gay is wrong? If you don't have to follow those commands and you're not even sure which ones are true.
Well, there's going to be judgments, and I don't think
No, but why
that's
do you
something
think
wanna
it's
risk,
wrong? You don't want to risk it?
I think they know it's wrong.
Who's
It's obvious
they?
to them.
She asked about
It was
you,
obvious.
Luke.
Yeah, why do you
No.
think it's wrong? I mean, you've clearly made a huge change in your life with your own identity. You must be convinced that it's wrong.
Well, it. Yeah, I don't really want to get into all that. It's a. Yeah, I don't want to really talk about
Okay,
that
you
too
don't
much.
have to share you don't have to share your personal experiences. I'm just trying to understand, like, if you can't be sure that the Bible is all correct, I don't know how you can be sure of any of God's commandments, like understanding what is right and wrong. How do you know? How do you know which ones still apply?
Well, I feel like that if we don't have some kind of foundation, then we can just go off the deep end, and we don't, we don't
That
know
doesn't
what's
answer the
true or we don't know
question.
what's right.
Luke, I think you're
Right,
allergic
you
to listening. Did you even hear her question?
I'm listening. I just maybe
All
I'm
right.
misunderstanding.
Repeat her question back to her.
Uh, I think you're asking about like why I think the homosexualism is wrong.
No.
And how do you know any of God's rules?
How do
She said, how do you know which
know
ones
God?
apply if some of them are wrong?
Well, the Holy Spirit shows me.
The Spirit of God tells you.
And my, pastors, when he's preaching, that's what we're called to do. Like
Right.
that's obviously like that's what we're called to do. We're supposed to listen, submit
So
to
wait,
leaders.
how do
And
you know that your pastor has got it right and another pastor has got it wrong?
well, I honestly think most Christians are lost. I don't think a lot of them are following the true way. And
That doesn't answer
No,
her
that doesn't
question.
answer the question. No, answer the question. How do you know your pastor is right?
well, I trust that they're sincere, and
Why?
I just don't feel like. I guess you can tell when someone's being dishonest or they're trying to mislead someone.
Can you be
I
sincerely
honestly think that
wrong?
Yeah, what if he's totally sincere and he just happens to be incorrect, even though he thinks he's right?
I mean that could be the case. I could say the same thing about an atheist or someone that's Hindu or
Yes, you absolutely could. Yes. So
sure.
if you can't trust the Bible because the Bible is written by men and you don't know which of those rules are correct, and you can't be sure that your pastor is correct either, you yet seem to live by incredibly rigid rules, and I'm trying to understand why.
Yeah. I were you asking me a question? I kind of got distracted. I got ADHD bad.
So, you said previously that you don't know if the whole Bible is true because it was written by men. And so we can't trust that every word in it is true. We don't know. It's not totally trustworthy. And then, secondly, you've agreed that we can't know for sure if your particular pastor is right either. Right. So maybe
Mm-hmm.
something in the Bible is wrong, and maybe your pastor has it wrong. And yet, you personally seem to live by incredibly rigid rules. And I'm asking you, why? Why do you live by these rigid rules if your pastor could be wrong and the Bible could be wrong? How do you even know what's right?
Well, I just feel like by the guidance of the Holy Spirit and that through the leading of my pastor
vibes.
and the Word of God that I will stay on the path and stay in the light.
It's just vibes, bro.
That's pretty much it.
So if another Christian
I
in
guess
another
you could call
church
it
has
that.
vibes that disagree with you, who's right?
Well, I mean, if I run another believer, I can we can hash it out and see where we disagree,
But
and
what are you going to use to
possibly
hash
lead
it
them
out?
back to the right path.
Wait, no, but I don't know how
what-
you are how do you figure out what the right path is? Because you've already agreed that the Bible isn't trustworthy and your pastor isn't trustworthy. So how are you going to know that you have it right?
I just I think you guys are trying to like confuse me and mislead me. Like that makes sense. But I just I think that I just trust that God wouldn't mislead me, and I just trust that I feel like the spirit within me guiding me, and I just don't think that my pastor or God's true word would mislead me, because
Why?
I
The New Testament
He
says
saved me.
that God loosed Satan on this world specifically to deceive you. 2 Corinthians 4:4. God of this world has blinded you to the gospel. How do you know that you're not one of the blinded?
Well, because God is good. I mean, God is.
No, you don't know that. If God was good, he wouldn't have created Satan and allowed Satan to deceive all human beings. Remember, Satan's roaring around like a lion seeking to devour people. But God let him do that. God put him in charge of that. That's a good God?
Well, I believe that God is sovereign, and I think that if He wants to
I'm
judge
asking
people
about Satan, not
with
about sovereignty. Is allowing Satan to deceive people and blind them to the gospel a good thing?
Yes, I think it's.
It is
to have.
So it's a good thing to blind people to the
yeah.
truth of the gospel, which is a contradiction of John when God says that he desires that none would perish, referring to going to the eternal fire. Why would God desire that none would perish, but then specifically create an entity that would cause people to be perished?
Well, isn't it true? I don't remember the verse. I think maybe it's in Matthew where Jesus says that, or the disciples ask him why he speaks in parables, and he answers, he speaks to everyone in parables because seeing they do not see. I don't forget the verse, but
I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
They're given the secrets of the kingdom because it wasn't given to those people to understand or see. So yeah, here it is.
Right.
I think it's
So
Matthew 13.
if you are in a group in which you believe that you have special knowledge and almost everyone else is deceived, if you are in a group in which you have to take your leader's word as gospel, if you are in a group that tells you that other sources of information are evil and lying, and you should only consume information that comes right from your group, do any of these sound familiar? Is that your group?
Yeah, I mean we're the church.
So those those are
characteristics.
Those are characteristics of a cult.
I figured.
So not
like that.
every church. Hold on, wait. Let me finish. Hold on. Not every church is like that. Not every church tells you to take your pastor's word as law. Not every church tells you that you shouldn't consume other sources of information. Not every church tells you that all other Christians have it wrong, but you have special knowledge. That's not every church. There are lots of churches that don't do that.
Right. Yeah, I think I gotta go. I gotta get going. But I was gonna ask Justin. I keep hearing about this Doug. Is that like your boyfriend or something?
Yeah, I'm rock hard for Doug. He cured my ED.
Oh, I really? I keep hearing about this Doug.
Yep.
Okay.
Listen, Luke, if you find yourself in a place that you are looking for something else, I'd want you to know that there are resources for people leaving high control religion. You can find me on TikTok at Leaving Faith. My DMs are open if you need some assistance.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, I watch you guys watch stuff, and I'll probably call in again, and I'll consider some of the things he said, but I'll probably bring some other arguments.
Sure thing. Love to hear it.
All right.
Cheers, Luke.
All right. Talk to you later. Bye.
It hurts me, it pains me that there are Christians who have been programmed to hate the way that they were born. I hate it for them. Like, my heart breaks for them, you know?
Yeah, that was awful. Like, God, this poor guy. I just Yeah, I agree. I don't think you should have to hate who you are to make
Right.
God happy. I can't imagine a good God that would want you to hate who you are.
I agree. Well, listen, friends, we're going to take one more call, and then we're going to read all the super chats, $6.66 and over, and then everyone can go and party the rest of the night, do all the heathenry that you want, because we're not Christians. We can do all the heathenry that's on the schedule. So we're going to get Aditya, and I apologize that I'm probably not going to pronounce this name correctly because it's the first time I'm seeing it. So you'll have to help me. Is it Aditya, a theist from India that argues God existence from the argument of change? How close was I on the name?
Well, you are pretty accurate. The right pronunciation is Aditya, and it really doesn't matter
Aditya.
even if you, yeah. So
Okay. Well,
So
Aditya,
basically-
you're on the line with Justin and Sarah. So are you using the argument from change similar to like the argument from like the prime mover argument, or how are you going to use it?
it's I would not like to call it as I would not like to call God a prime mover because it sometimes confuses people, because people, when they think about motion, they think about two bodies moving physically in space. That's not what we mean by motion in this argument. So I think it's the argument from change. Yeah, that's a more fair characterization of the argument.
Okay, so go ahead and give us the argument. I mean, I can write down the premises so we keep track of however you want to do it.
Okay, so the first premise is that change exists, and the second premise is that change is
Wait,
the actual.
change exists or change happens?
It doesn't matter which way you want to put it. Either way, I'm fine with it. Change
Okay.
exists or change happens. Yeah. And the second premise is that change is the actualization for potential. The example which I really like to give is a hot cup of coffee as it cools down. So we could say that the cup of coffee had the potential to cool down, and when it interacted with the environment in which there was cool air, it cooled down, right? So the cup of coffee had the potential to cool down, and that is precisely why it did cool down in a cool atmosphere, for instance, right? So, am I audible?
Yeah, we agree that change exists, and when things change, their state changes. Yep.
Okay. Am I audible right now?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yep.
Okay. So you agree to these claims that change exists or happens, and change is the actualism of potential. The second thing that I would like to add on to this is
do you think that potential has an independent ontology, or do you think that potential is a description of something? Because I think of the word potential as a description of a state of reality as opposed to something that has ontology. I kind of get the inkling you're about to use it as though it's got independent existence.
Are you eating?
Okay.
And please,
I think,
yeah, whatever's in your mouth, can
I-
you not do that right now?
I'm really sorry. I'm really sorry. Actually, so I would just say to that, I do not believe that change is something which has its own independent ontology. I don't believe that. I would be willing to go with whatever suggestion you're posing, which is that it is essentially a description, right?
Well, I'm trying to understand what you mean by potential, because again, I'm getting the feeling that your definition of potential and mine might be different. So when it says change is the actualization of potential, we're describing a process, not a thing, right?
We're describing a process, but
very good.
This is what I mean by the word potential. We could say that a cup of coffee has the potential to cool down in terms of temperature, but a cup of coffee does not have the potential, for instance, to grow legs and move, right? Or the cup of coffee doesn't have the potential to understand the Pythagorean theorem, right?
Yep.
Yeah. So that is that is the meaning of the word potential in this context, in this particular context. Would that be enough, or we need more clarification on that? Yeah. Okay. So the idea is that a potential cannot actualize itself. There must be something actual to actualize a potential.
I disagree. I have no reason to believe that's the case. Also, I have no reason to believe that there's not just an infinite chain of actualizations.
Okay, so let me give an example. Whenever you observe a particular change, that is because of something actual which is acting upon it. So, for instance, if the cup of coffee
I
cools
just said
down,
that. Yeah. Why wouldn't I not believe that there's just an infinite change of actualizations?
we can get back to that, but I think right now you have to either agree or disagree with the statement that that
I disagreed on two
cannot
accounts.
actualize itself.
Yeah, we disagreed.
Okay, so you disagree with the statement that that a potential cannot actualize itself. There must be something actual to actualize a potential, right?
No, what I said was you didn't support your premise. You just hoped that we accepted it. And number two, I have no reason to believe that your premise is true, or why it solves the problem of why I wouldn't just believe that there's an infinite chain of actualizations. Because again, what's going to happen here is this argument's going to go right back to the first cause, the prime mover, whatever you want to call it. And I don't believe that there was a first cause or a prime mover, or like something that is pure act. Your argument most likely is going to end in something that has pure act or is pure act.
Okay, so to that I would just say that right now we are talking about the statement that whatever changes, whatever goes from potency to act, potential to actual, whatever changes, in other words, there must be something actual that actualizes that particular potential. And your statement about
again, if it's an infinite chain of actualization, then there's no problem.
Okay, so
why would I believe that there's a first act?
Okay, so the reason why you should believe that there is some purely actual thing, those reasons will be provided further down the line when we proceed in the argument, not right now.
Well, I've already disagreed with premise 3, which means we can't get further down the line. Until you support premise 3, premise 4 is useless.
Yeah, so can you repeat again what was the premise third with which you disagree?
Your premise is a change cannot actualize itself. We actually don't know that to be the case.
I said a potential cannot actualize itself. There must be something actual to actualize a potential.
Oh, a potential. Well, it's the same thing. A change is the actualization of potential. So I mean, I can change it if you want. Let's say a potential cannot actualize itself. And listen, we agree that actualization of potentials happen typically when there's an outside force, but that's certainly not always the case. There are fundamental particles that change without an outside force. So like particle decay happens without an outside force. All kinds of shit happens on the quantum level that probably doesn't fall into this argument.
So whatever those quantum particles are which decay, is it the case that they decay without any real cause? Is that the case?
No. Without an outside cause. Having a real cause. Your argument is that there's no external. It has to have an external cause. I don't know that to be the case.
Okay, so I think right now the thing that we should just focus on is that whether or not there is some real cause, some actually existent cause. So for instance, if you talk about particle decay or something, if there is some actual cause behind that, we could just say, yeah, there is some actual cause behind this. There is some actualizer for that. If you have problem with that particular term, actualizer, you can just discard that. There is some actual cause. There is something actual, which actualizes the potential,
No,
right?
but,
I think that would be
we
fine.
agree. So when quarks decay and they decay into a lower mass, that's something that's happening in itself. The physical object within itself is decaying.
Okay. And there is
So
an actual
that
cause
means
because of which it happens, right?
so what that means is that it internally change is happening without any outside causation.
Okay, so as I said, that right now what we have to focus on is essentially that is it a real cause, even if it is within that
Yeah,
thing,
yeah,
but
it is a
is it
real cause
real?
because they decay. Yeah. Things that happen
Okay.
are real.
As opposed to a fake cause? Like, what would a fake cause be?
It's not about a fake cause. It's about something imaginary. Like there are certain causes which are real, and then there are certain imagined causes which are not really real. They're just projections of mind or something like that. That's what you could think about. But what we're trying to focus on right now is that behind any actualization of a potential, there is something actual. There is some actual cause, even if it's within that thing. There is nonetheless an actual cause, right? So
We agree
Okay.
that all results typically are preceded by causes, as far as we know. I mean, there are some physicists that disagree. There are physicists that believe in retrocausality. I don't know if I do yet. So, I mean, that's fine. So we're saying that some potential can only be actualized by a cause. That cause can be internal or external.
yeah, and that should be an actual cause. It should not be an imagined cause because
we
at the end of the
agree
day,
that actual
potential-
causes are the only ones that actually exist. So you don't have to argue with us
Yeah.
on that. So give us premise number 4 then. I don't want to drag this argument out for next 5 hours.
Okay, so the next step in the argument would be that there are two kinds of series. One is a hierarchical series, and another is a linear
Two kind
series.
of what?
And a linear.
What?
Sorry.
Two kinds of what?
Two kinds of series. Series.
A what? Diseases?
Series?
Yeah, a kind of series.
You mean
a
sequences?
series which is something like that. Exactly. So the idea is that a linear series is a series in which we extend back and forth in time. So for instance, my father brought me into existence and his father brought him into existence, and so on and so on and so on. So that would be a linear series because we're going back in time. And you can imagine another series in which we go forward in time, in which I have a child of my own and they have a child of their own, and so on and so on.
Those are both linear.
Yeah, because we're moving back and forth in time, right?
Yeah. Those aren't
is,
two kinds. That's one kind. Yeah. Okay, so that wasn't the second kind. Okay, so there's linear sequences and then there are non-linear sequences.
Yeah. So a hierarchical series or a non-linear series would be a series in which we are not moving back and forth in time, but rather we are staying at one particular moment, and at that particular instant of time, we are looking at some causal dependency or some series of causal dependencies.
Okay, so the two kinds of sequences are linear and non-sequence. Because a sequence that is stationary isn't a sequence. And listen, Aditya, whatever's in your mouth, take it out. I don't want to hear you eat.
Okay. So
stop eating. Stop eating in front of your microphone.
Okay, I'm really sorry about that. I won't do that. Okay. So the idea is that if you have a hierarchical series, you're saying that it's not really a series. Is that the idea?
We're talking about sequences. You said you're using sequences. A linear sequence, we agree, exists. A stationary sequence is not a sequence. It's a single point.
So, for instance, if a cup of coffee is supported by a table, and the table is in turn supported by the floor, and the floor is in turn supported by something else, that kind of a series in which at any particular moment the cup of coffee is dependent for its being maintained in a particular position on the table, and the table is being dependent on something else.
I think what you're trying to say is that there are two kinds of dependencies. One that has a singular cause and one that has multiple causes. So like the cup could fall because of multiple reasons.
Well, in this case, if the cup of coffee is supported, it's supported by one reason, which is that it is supported by the table below it, right? That's the idea.
What I'm asking you is what you're describing are two things. One has a singular cause and one has a potential multiple different causes.
I think that's not the idea. The idea is that at any given instant, if you have a causal dependency in which you're witnessing that some entity A is being causally supported by entity B, and entity B is being causally supported by entity C, and so on and
That's
so on.
what I'm
And all of this
describing.
is-
Yes, something has one causal dependency, and then there is another kind that has multiple causal dependencies. Those are the two you're describing.
I don't understand in the linear case example. Would it be the case that if I'm caused,
This is
I'm caused
crazy.
by my father?
I just
How about
just
how
say
about
your
we
whole-
just do
give-
the whole thing?
Just give your whole syllogism, and then I'll tell you why it doesn't work. Go ahead. He fucking dropped.
Did we lose? That was
Well, his argument was
exhausting.
going to go nowhere anyways. It was a it literally would have been a waste of whatever the next 30 minutes was going to be.
Because he was just going to get back to like that there had to be a first cause, right?
Obviously, everyone here knew what was going to happen. It was going to go back to either a first cause or something that is purely actual. Those are the only ways that that argument terminates.
Yeah. Well, good for you. I don't have patience for that.
Yeah. I have little patience for that. Well, friends, thank you for being here. We're going to read all the super chats that are $6.66 or over because we're doing Satan's work. We'll rotate. I'll read, then Sarah reads. 10 from our friend Mike. Mike Internet says, my favorite Bible study duo on the line. Atheists, content worlds are colliding in the best way.
Yay!
If you weren't here for the beginning, Sarah and I do a Bible study on her channel almost weekly, and it's a ton of fun. Follow Leaving Faith's channel, and you can catch our Bible study.
All right. $10 from Cardinal Chimp says, Doug is the one true God. Rock hard for Doug. What is it? Stay wet? What's
It's
the S?
Sinfully Wet for Sharon.
Sinfully. Oh, sinfully wet for Sharon. And DZ on the line.
$10 from our friend Puriform says, an object has boundaries, therefore it is alive. So God. Science and logic, mic drop. We're done.
So
See you in the
good.
church Sunday. I think tomorrow morning I'll be in the choir.
$9.99 from Chip says Sarah does such an amazing job of looking at the caller and saying, I'm sorry you believe what now, in the sweetest way ever.
She really is.
Thanks, Chip.
Good to see you, Chip. And 666 from House 70 says, deistic God equals useless God. Might as well drop it. That's my whole argument, House. You've heard me say it before. Like, if you believe in a deistic God, like, you might as well not believe in a God. It's not doing anything for you. It doesn't love you. It doesn't care about you. It doesn't give you an afterlife. Doesn't give you a soul. It doesn't do anything for you. You're just not ready yet to drop the God belief. So you're like, what's the smallest, most insignificant, most unfalsifiable God belief? Oh, I'll be a deist.
$9.99 from M68 Ken says, so I've had depression for a number of years, and my parents, who know I'm an atheist, keep trying to push religious platitudes onto me as part of a solution. Any pointers on setting boundaries? Oh, this is going to be harder if you are living with your parents versus if you're not. The thing about boundaries is that you have to clearly state what is acceptable and what is not, and then the thing that you're going to do when they violate the boundary. You won't be able to control them. You can't control their actions. So it would look something like, I've heard you. Thank you for sharing, but I don't want to talk about this anymore. And if you bring it up again, I'm going to have to leave the conversation. And then the worst part about it is when they bring it up again, you actually have to leave the conversation. It sucks and it's really hard. And I'm sorry that you're in that spot.
Indeed. And $10 from Flux Chandler says, I never thought I'd miss Stevie from Texas, but Andrew from New Jersey gives him a run for his money. Much love, Justin and Sarah. Best atheist tag team, in my opinion. Horizontal stream is best. Listen, don't bring that schism over to the line. We are not having a line schism debate. Love you. Oh boy.
Okay, 10 pounds from Herbie Shine 1312. Sarah, sorry your first appearance on the line was presumably your first exposure to Andrew. He was fairly pleasant and not as offensive as usual. Great to see you here, and I hope you'll be back again. Well, thank you, Herbie. I appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely. And 10 from our friend Meg says, I'm going to guess no one warned Sarah about Andrew's shittiness beforehand. LOL, sorry you have to listen to him regurgitate the same garbage he does every single time he calls in.
Well, there you go.
It is what it is. I don't know why they call in so repeatedly, like they think they're going to progress.
$9.99 from Falcon Storm says, Andrew is what happens when you let a book do all of your thinking for him. I'd feel bad for him if he wasn't such a shitty person. Oof,
Yeah.
yikes.
He'll grow up one day. He'll be a big boy. I believe in it. $9.99 from our friend David Burke. David, great to see you, my friend. Says, awesome to see you two here. So many on DZ yesterday were mentally incompetent. It certainly was true that we had a large group of people on a hike and only some of them packed boots. That certainly seemed to be the case.
$10 from Flux Channeler. After all that work Sarah did calming Andrew's baited ass down, Justin gets him riled back up again. I thought that. I was like, Justin, he's calm. Stop it.
I'm sorry, I can't help. You're the good cop, I'm the bad cop.
It's true, you can't help it.
we have to rough them up a little bit before we can let them down easy. Flux Channel again, thank you so much, my friends, for a super chat. Says it's wild that Andrew tries to distance himself from the Old Testament, but he's still got the same bigotries shared by many Old Testament believers. Does it count or not, Andrew? Is it evil or not? I actually don't think Andrew knows what he believes. I think he's just spitballing it, and he feels like Gnosticism could help him, but it's not helping him. It's not making him a better person.
$20 from Mr. Boracua 10. Oh, geez. It's going to be a lot of words. Andrew, you dim, dull, irritating, bearded, backwards thinking, xenophobic, fallacious, dismal, worm brain, dishonest, disinforming, malevolent, unthinking, petulant, fermenting, putrid pustule of pestilence. Be better.
That reminds me of the rant from Christmas Vacation. Hallelujah! Where's the fucking Advil? And Piriform again, thank you for the super chat, says, LOL, I really like Andrew's idea of stitching different gods together. Is that done by the fates? I need a t-shirt for a t-shirt line on this and a made-for-TV limited series. Couldn't agree more. Listen, if you don't like what the Bible really teaches, you can always just pick and choose and stitch them together and make up your own religion, but just stop pretending like you have a real religion to say, listen, I believe my own shit, you know?
That works. $10 from Cardinal Chimpson. Hashtag gay for Justin. Woo!
I'm out of the closet, boys. It's fine. And $20 from our friend Jolo says, for people going gay for Justin, I laughed so loud my wife came to check on me. Well, I'm glad you're okay.
$10 from Flux again. Says, Brother Luke, it's okay. You are allowed to be gay. I promise it's okay. Thank you. Yes, I agree. That was hard.
And no one's going to smite you. You have to spill your seed on the ground for God to smite you.
Yeah, well, yeah.
I know. 999 from Falcon Storm says, Luke, your call breaks my heart. A loving God wouldn't hate you for the way you were born and certainly wouldn't torture you in both life and death for how you happen to be born. It's okay to be gay. And Sarah's point was actually really good on this. There's a really good theological argument from people who are part of affirming churches as to why you could actually believe this. You don't have to be part of a church that demonizes the way God created you. There certainly is a path forward. If you're really stuck in this religion, you can be part of it without hating yourself.
Yep. $9.99 from Outwitted by Fish. While I like Sarah's examples of the imperfection in humans' design, isn't that just a God of the gaffes argument? Nice.
Indeed, it is.
I like it.
Flux Chandler, thank you for the additional super chat. Says, Sarah, thank you so much for trying to help Luke. I hope someday in the future he looks back on this moment from a healthier place. Sarah's really good about that. Sarah's really good about being empathetic towards the callers and helping them get to a better position. Maybe I can learn from her and stop trying to mercilessly cook people and help them. We'll see. I'm praying on it. I'm waiting for an answer still.
666 from Cardinal Chimp. Having you two on the line is like having those two different friend groups meet and it actually goes well. I love that.
I mean,
Nice.
actually, Cardinal Chip, like we've actually been friends for a long time, Sarah and I. We do a lot of content together.
We do. Although maybe he just meant we have different vibes.
Maybe that's it. We do have different vibes. 10 from Jason Big Dog says, I'm disappointed because some people in chat immediately jump to labeling callers like Luke a troll. I actually don't think Luke was a troll. Y'all need to quit antagonizing vulnerable people who have flawed reasoning. It really angers me. Well, I hope that they don't get you too worked up, Jason, but I agree. Like some people can sound like trolls, but I've talked to enough people to know that like Luke sounded like a real person who was legitimately confused. And I know if you're a sane, rational human being, you're like, how could somebody be that confused? But it happens.
Well, and I mean, to also be fair, I think any one of us is capable of being sucked into a cult. Like, it's not like that is a thing that only happens to certain kinds of people. It's part of the human condition that, you know, given the right circumstances, that could happen to any of us. And so you're not going to be able to reason someone out of a cult, but it's so hard and sad watching it.
Right. You and I both were. We were both in the cult.
Yep. $9.99 from Outwitted by Fish. Sarah, thanks for being so kind with Luke. Yeah, absolutely.
Sometimes kindness wins. And 666 from alias Shauna Silverbow says 666 super chat will be read. This is pure evil. Only a rock as hard as Doug would come up with such a scheme. Also, blunt pencils are just pointless. Indeed, that is the case. Fantastic joke.
$20 from Mr. Borakua 10. Luke, don't suppress/hate yourself for the sake of a supposedly omni-love deity that just so happens to hate very specific people. That deity is not all loving, but is instead malevolent. Be free and be yourself.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Definitely. And 999 from Sid Allman says, I can't be the only straight cis male with a man crush for Justin. Great show. And want to see this pairing on the line more. We can make it happen. And I'm glad that you can be straight and gay for Justin. Big W, Sid.
Yay! $10 CA. Oh, is that part of the CA dollar? Canada dollars?
Canadian.
Pure Form 42. If we raise $100, can we drop this call and take another? If that was about the last call, y'all probably saw my face being like, not this argument.
Yeah. That was going to be a really boring, strained philosophical. At least he had premises ready, but like they weren't good.
Yeah.
Reverend Nate, good to see you, my friend. Thanks for crossing over to the line. Says, I bet $20 the stupid coffee gets cold premise would come up at least 3 more times. There's no way Justin will let this nonsense backtrack. So I admit defeat. Great duo. There's no way I would let that conversation actually work with those failed premises. It would never happen. I should make some good arguments from coffee, though, as integral as it is to my life.
Yeah. $9.99 from Mike Old Newbie. Luke breaks my heart. I hope he finds his way out. Sarah has more empathy and compassion than most Christians I have known. Well, thank you. And yeah, Luke broke my
True.
heart too.
Yeah, it was hard listening to Luke. I wished that we could get him on a better path. Maybe he'll call in again. 666 from our friend Saint Brush. Great to see you, friend. Says, just what was the channel? I think you mean Justin. What was the channel you read ancient Near Eastern text called? It's actually called The Ancient Near East. If you type in at The Ancient Near East, it's in my link tree on my profile too. I'll be putting up more videos soon. I apologize. I've been kind of delayed, but I'll be putting up more readings from the ancient Near East very soon, and it should be a good time. I've got all kinds of fun stuff there. I've got like the rite of circumcision as told by like an ancient Egyptian. I've got Anana's descent into the underworld. I've got all kinds of goodies up there.
$9.99 from Juju Penguins. Justin, I think the god-eating penguin would most likely be in the subglacial lakes of Antarctica, which means if we keep warming the globe, we may see him come back. Hashtag penguin apocalypse.
True. I'm ready for it. Bring on the penguins. They have a cute waddle. Come on.
They do.
Night Owl, great to see you. Thank you for the super chat. It says, my dog? I think you mean
Maybe
your dog
dad?
or your dad. My dad fought so hard against his homosexuality that he became an ordained Baptist minister to literally pray the gay away. He hated himself so deeply, he quit himself by purposely contracting AIDS. Oh, I hate to hear that, Night Owl. That's the danger. When you've been trained from a young age to hate yourself, you act out in that hatred because you don't know what else to do. And this is what we're trying to prevent. We don't want anything like this happening anymore. We want to put an end to this.
$10 from Joe White says, bring Sarah back. Don't bore her. Hashtag gay for Justin.
I can see like not just Sarah, but half the audience's eyes glazing over like the minute the Philbro comes up and is like, I want to make an argument from change. Everyone's like, oh, like audible groans. Yeah. Internally, I'm groaning myself. Yeah. 666 from Legally Maud says, my mind is depraved, so it's hot. Do you know? Is that a word? Depraved?
Depraved? Maybe depraved?
I gotta look that up.
Mind is depraved. It's so hot. I think it's supposed to be depraved. Well, listen, if your mind is depraved, we're depraved with you. Well, like we're in this degenerate club together. No worries. We're all retrobates here. $9.99 from Taylor Lee. First exposure to Sarah, and I became a fan. Oh, thank you. Your empathy, kindness is beautiful. Thank you for coming on today. Oh, well, I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah, if you are tired of the toxic debaters like Justin and others getting up here cooking Christians, you want to find somebody with empathy and kindness and compassion, you're going to love Sarah's content. You're going to love it. And 66 from Cardinal Chimp says, I just want Justin to know that Gay for Justin will follow you back to your channel. Hey, I appreciate that. Yay! What a delightful new hashtag. I love it.
Thanks I support it.
Here.
666 from Elishana Silverbow. It may no longer be Spooktober, but please remember that the only way to fix a broken pumpkin is with a pumpkin patch. Also, Sarah, please come back. Oh, yay! I would love to.
Absolutely, we will make that happen. I think that's the last of our super chats. Guys, thank you so much for being here. Make sure you follow Sara on her channel over on TikTok and YouTube at Leaving Faith. She's a ton of fun. She's wicked smart. And sometimes she even gets callers that allows her or response videos too, where she can like nerd out on the science stuff, which is her area of specialty. So if you love kindness, compassion, atheism, and science, she's got it all. Follow me over on the Deconstruction Zone if you're not already following me on the Deconstruction Zone, and we'll see you again sometime in the near future. And if you followed me over here from my channel and you're not following the line yet, what are you doing with your life? Drop a follow and subscribe to the line before this video ends.
Thank you so much for having me.